The Morning Checkdown on 90.
Big hole for Jonathan Taylor. There he goes again. 50, 40, down the far sideline. He might do it again. 10, 5, touchdown. I-N-D-Y.
The Eastern Conference Championship has been captured by the Indiana Pacers.
Alex Pillow wins the 109th Indianapolis 500.
This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome into a Wednesday here at 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. James Boyd is still in Phoenix. You ought to just wake him up this morning, like right now. I think it's like 4 o'clock in the morning there, Mark Dykton. How you doing this morning?
I will not make that phone call. I don't want him mad at me.
All right. Sounds good. Kevin Bowen, as always, in on my left this morning. How you doing today, bud?
I'm good. I will admit here very early on this Wednesday morning, this day sucks.
You don't like this day? You walk around with a head on a swivel all day long?
I hate it. I hate April Fools.
Yeah, we got the big email that I sent all you guys from corporate legal yesterday, reminding us all the ways you can get into trouble with April Fool's jokes today. So please don't do it, is basically what they were saying.
You imagine all the fake headlines that will inevitably dupe us on this Wednesday morning?
You just have to be very careful with the sources that you're looking at.
Make sure it's Adam Schefter, not a darn Schefter.
But, I think some of those guys in the past have pulled their own pranks, haven't they?
That's a sick joke if they have. So, yes, be careful. Fair warning to everybody out there today. Walk on eggshells.
So, Mark, have you ever participated in any, elaborate April Fool's Day jokes?
Not that I can recall, but I always remember, falling for a couple, back in the day when social media wasn't such a big thing. You'd see stuff and you're like, wait, what? That can't be real. And sure enough, it wasn't.
Kurt Cignetti's been named the IU men's basketball coach.
Yeah.
That might actually be somewhat believable.
Some might sign up for that.
Right.
Actually.
Anything he touches turns to gold.
Anything. Mark, I have not yet heard back from legal on whether or not, as an employee, you're allowed to win the pool contest.
Sounds like I'm winning. I don't know. That's what it sounds like. I don't see any restrictions here. We playing for second or are we playing for first?
I don't know. Is there an element of charity involved here? How's that work?
Yeah, the charity going to my plumbing costs.
That's true. How's that going, by the way? Do you have working plumbing in your house again?
Yeah, plumbing is working. The costs are still there, though.
I hate when that happens. That's how it goes, though. And, life goes on. Good things happen. Bad things happen. That's what happens with all of our teams in sports. And we're trying to figure out a way to fix the interior and get it up and running for the Colts, get them back into the playoffs and on the winning ways. And like every other team in the National Football League, they've kind of put that on pause to go take part in the league meetings. And, of course, you've heard Carlie Gordon on various platforms this week. You've heard Chris Ballard. We talked to James Boyd when I was filling in for JMV yesterday. Kevin, for all the things you've seen coming out of Phoenix over the last few days, did you find anything interesting, anything that was said by Ballard or Ursay Gordon that made you kind of raise your eyebrows and go, that's interesting. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah, maybe at some point today, Mark, that Carlie clip that I sent you from earlier in the week, I did find that interesting, and I'm definitely eager to have James back tomorrow. Just, did he hear kind of the similar thing of, and this gets back actually to a question that I asked Carlie Ursay Gordon at now I'm trying to think when it was. I guess it would have been May last year. Do you believe the head coach and GM needs to be tied at the hip? That's a question that NFL franchises go through. Do you want to hire them in the same cycle? Do you do the arranged marriages? And it just kind of came up organically in one of the interviews Carlie did. Her answer actually surprised me. I want to make sure I'm reading it correctly, but we can get to that maybe at some point today. As far as the overall team philosophy with this offseason, their answers, I think, pretty much played out what I thought they would be. They tried to make a move for Trey Hendrickson, and once that fell through, they decided to rely on depth and quantity over maybe high-end quality, and that's probably the biggest question as we are now, 3 weeks away from the draft, starting tomorrow? Unless something, unless whatever, the Easter Bunny, provides some, golden egg for the Colts, I do not expect a major move between now and then. And so I think that's where the biggest offseason question lies. The emphasis on improving your front and getting a little bit more, I guess, in general, the front seven, both levels of the defense there, D-line and linebacker. I'm left kind of shrugging my shoulders at exactly where that significant impact is going to come.
We'll talk a lot about that this morning and check in with what's happening in Phoenix throughout the day. And here's one other thing last night in the NBA. I don't know if you saw this, Mark. LeBron James has now become the NBA's all-time wins leader.
I'm actually shocked that hasn't happened already.
It's been a while. 1,229, and he did it against the Cleveland Cavaliers last night.
That's pretty fitting, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe he saved up for that.
Maybe.
Guys, don't win too much. I got this date circled.
The Lakers are winning a lot of basketball games lately. Have you noticed that? They're rising through the ranks rapidly out west.
I would hope with LeBron and Luka that would be the case as well. So better late than never, I guess.
Man, when you take a look at what the standings have become out in the West and it's not a lot of our concern, but the Lakers, Kevin, they're all the way up to third. They've become a 50-win team all of a sudden, and they've still got 6 games to go.
Can they beat the Thunder in a 7-game series?
I don't know, but I think that West is going to be. I mean, you got Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and Victor Wembanyama is making a terrific case for MVP right now. And I don't think that they can win 4 series in a row. In fact, I'm pretty sure they can't. But would you want to play Jokic and the Nuggets in a 7-game series?
Well, last year they gave the Thunder everything they could handle, right?
Right. That's
and
what I mean.
They take them to 7 before the Pacers did.
I think anytime you play a team that's got a player that's a big problem, that's a team you want to stay away from, right?
Things we don't have to worry about here in the year of 2026 with our NBA team.
No, we don't have to worry about that. And I'll have some details on the Pacers and what they've got going on. They're starting a road trip later on tonight. They'll be in Chicago. We'll tell you more about that coming up in just a second. Have you noticed all of the little things popping up around downtown and along Meridian, getting ready for this weekend in the Final Four?
Boy, I'll tell you what, there's nothing little about that Ferris wheel. Have you seen that thing on the other side of
you can't miss it.
Of the library?
You can't miss that.
How many trucks did it take to bring that over there?
Unbelievable.
Is that the one from the Children's Museum? It's massive.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I did drive by the Children's Museum the other day and thinking, where is the Ferris wheel there? Yeah, that's a good question, Mark. We'll have Sarah Meyer on from the Sports Corp coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. She is just an outstanding, frankly, leader in our city when it comes to the hosting of these events. We had her on a couple of years ago when the swim trials called Indianapolis home. And, I'm reminded by all the different things we're seeing pop up downtown. Last time we had the Final Four, it was the COVID Final Four. So we haven't had a fan-filled Final Four, that tongue twister, since 2015.
Yeah.
And then that, of course, was a loaded Final Four with Wisconsin and Duke and Michigan State and Kentucky in that Final Four. So, yeah, you got a ton of concerts that will take place just south of us. American Legion Mall there. Free concerts throughout the weekend. You're going to have the convention center filled with the Fan Fest. You're going to have Gainbridge Fieldhouse on Sunday, D2, D3, NIT championships. I believe Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts, doing some Westwood One radio for those. Obviously, you got the semifinals on Saturday. You've got free open practices on Friday. What else? You got the 3-point contest, slam dunk up at Hinkle on Friday. Fletcher Lawyers in that. You got the NIT semifinals tomorrow at Hinkle, and I know I'm missing things, but it is if you want to take part in it, and if you want to do something that you don't have to empty the pocketbook, you can definitely do that as well coming downtown. So can't wait. Hope the weather cooperates as best as possible, and looking forward to chatting with Sarah coming up here at 9 o'clock. I think she definitely encourages people to download the March, I think it's the Final Four app. That'll help you out with just a map and alerts on exactly when events are taking place, what costs money, what's free, where to park, all that stuff.
By the way, keep listening to the Fan Morning Show, and even this afternoon with JMV for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the 2026 State Farm College Slam Dunk and 3-point contest over at Hinkle Fieldhouse that you were talking about there. That's going to be Friday. Your next chance to win is coming up a little bit later on in the show. Keep listening. We'll tell you how you can do that, but that's going to be great. Also, it's not an official Final Four event, but it's an official fan event coming up tomorrow afternoon over in Nora at Total Wine. You'll get to meet Brian Cardinal and Alan Henderson. They'll be out there hanging out and doing things, and JMV will be out there. So that might be a good place to just go and congregate. A couple of legends from both Purdue and Indiana going to be out there.
Nice. Can we get them to go one-on-one against each other?
I don't know that they want to do one-on-one, but they're certainly happy to meet you and say hi and talk to you.
Cardinal just strapping up the knee pads,
Can
ready
you-
to go here.
Can you beat them in the mini basketball, though, is the question.
No. I
That's
would
the
trust
question.
Those two are competitors that are wired to the nth degree. So, yes, that'll be fun tomorrow. You said Nora?
Yeah, that Total Wine and Liquors out there at, I think, is it? I can never tell if it's 82nd or 86th because it kind of merges together at some point.
I think 86, but
86, yeah. But anyway, we'll tell you more about that and give you some details there as well. Mark, we going to stay away from April Fool's jokes today, or we got anything planned?
I've got nothing planned. You
I've
told
got
me not
nothing.
to.
No, I've got nothing planned either. I want to stay out of the way of legal right now. They're on a rampage.
Yeah,
They're
I want to
making
stay
us-
on their good side.
Are you guys? We got another legal training hour this afternoon. You ready for that one?
I mean, we've done like one a week, I feel like, lately.
This company does not mess around with the legal stuff, Kevin.
No. I am definitely know what I can and what I cannot say to my fellow employees.
All right, coming up in a moment.
But I will say my rules to Mark Dykton might be a little different than some of the other employees. Is that allowed?
That's fair.
I think that's
I'll
actually
allow it.
in our company bylaws.
Mark, are you reporting that to HR?
No. I think it's in the contract. You can be mean to Mark Dykton. That counts.
Yeah,
That applies to everyone in the building.
That was the one leverage point I tried to have in my contract negotiation.
Mark, you can get away with a lot of stuff with Mark because Mark doesn't want to say anything to HR about anything for his own safety. So
You know
that's
it.
kind of how that goes there.
Under lock and key.
Right. Coming up in a minute, we got the check down. We'll tell you what's going on here in Indianapolis this weekend, what's happening with our teams. It all comes your way next. It's the Fan Morning Show. Kevin Bowen, Jeff Rickard, James Boyd is in Phoenix this morning for the league meetings, and Mark Dykton's putting it all together behind the glass.
We Grow Hair Indy, the gold standard for hair restoration, located northwest side. That would be building number 2 at the Pyramids. They're ready to help you out today. Online, wegrowhairindy.com. I think when you go there, you'll see before and after pictures. You'll see some videos, just kind of what the process looks like. Pre-procedure, procedure process, recovery, all of those things. And I think those videos kind of explain to you exactly what they can offer. Now, certainly you're going to have questions. And the good news is they're ready to provide some answers for you. Get educated. Free evaluation, private evaluation, virtual evaluation, all of that is available to you at We Grow Hair Indy. Again, they are the gold standard when it comes to hair restoration, located up on the northwest side, building number 2 at the Pyramids. The best in the business. They just happen to call the 317 home. We Grow Hair Indy.
Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. It is Hump Day, Mark Dykton. I forgot about that. I haven't mentioned that for a month or two.
Hump Day and April Fools. Nothing wrong with that.
One of my all-time favorite commercials.
That one, yeah, that's we don't really have any memorable commercials. Yeah.
All right, let's start with the Indianapolis Colts. They are still months away from playing any kind of meaningful football, but they, along with the 31 other teams in the National Football League, have been represented at the league meetings in Phoenix, Arizona. I guess one thing that we've learned a little bit, kind of a minor thing, Kevin, and maybe we thought it was coming anyway, open competition for that safety spot that Nick Cross has left us. Does it sound like that's just going to be guys competing for it right there?
Yeah, and a guy that we can get into as the offseason rolls along, Hunter Wohler, the 7th-round pick out of Wisconsin last year, had a promising offseason. How many times in Colts history do you think a rookie has been hurt, not played a single snap in his first season in the NFL, and then gone on to start the next season? I mean, that'd be a pretty wild story. And again, he's coming off a Liz Frank injury, which, to wear the very uneducated medical hat here, that's a serious injury. So
it's a foot injury, yeah.
Right, foot injury. So he did that back in August. So, yeah, they got a lot of guys. Simone Biles' husband, remember Jonathan Owens? They signed him. Wanye Thomas coming over from the Cowboys. That is a very much, hey, here's 3-4 guys. Let's see what happens.
All right, so we'll keep an eye on that. Also, we've talked a little bit about how they're going to make up for the loss of Michael Pittman Jr., and it sounds like just more targets for specifically Alec Pierce, Tyler Warren, and Josh Downs, and then throwing a Nick Westbrook-Akini in there too, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's going to be more in numbers. So, maybe we can get into that today, starters that are gone. Because if you look at it, they've got about over 380 career starts that have left the building. It's a lot of notable players, really, about a handful of them, easily the most in the Ballard era. But how they replace them, I don't know. And this is, I don't know if there's exactly the one-for-one replacement for all of them. And so I think that's something we can get into.
As far as the league is concerned, they've been talking a lot about officiating and how they're going to try to help officials, and also about the fact that there may not be regular officials when the season starts. There may be replacement officials as they try to work something out with the referees union now.
That sounds like an epic disaster.
Sequel to the Fail Mary, right?
Now, and that's not an April Fool's joke.
No,
that's real.
Yeah. And they're actually talking about possibly being able to overturn certain types of calls from the booth in New York if they don't like the way it's been officiated with the replacement officials.
Now, the sick part of me might want to see that happen to a game that has no implications on the Colts on a Monday. They go back, they overturn a call, and they decide Team A that won on Sunday now lost.
Can you imagine? So that would be the antithesis of the 2-minute report for the NBA, where they tell you everything they did wrong, but nothing ever happens.
It would be the implementation of the 2-minute report.
Also, Roger Goodell, Mark, said as far as the Bears getting a new stadium, hurry up and pick a site. We need to get this going.
I feel like he's in the Bears chat rooms right now because that's the same thing. What are we doing here? It's just been dead quiet all of a sudden.
He may have more pull than those in the Reddit room there.
Well, he needs to text his friend Kevin Bowen and give us some updates. Some on the golf course before, had the mint julep on the course, on the turn. Come on now.
Zero mint julep. Some drinks definitely in our group. I didn't see Commissioner Goodell throwing any back there. The mint julep sounds as bad as a peep.
Oh, Caleb's probably eating one right now.
Are you a peep guy, Jeff?
When I was younger, I'll eat one when the boys have it now, but not more than that. I can't handle more than one.
Marshmallow sandpaper.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
Jacksonville Jaguars will be playing in Orlando in 2027 as their stadium gets a facelift in Jacksonville.
Well,
that's normal,
Colts,
right?
Will the Colts streak still be on at that point?
Yeah, well, that would be fitting that they would end the streak in Orlando. But then would it really count then? It'd have an asterisk.
Now, the streak technically is a road streak against Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. It's not just a Jacksonville streak because one of those losses occurred in London.
Mm-hmm.
So it dates back to 2014. What was it, 2016, I want to say, was the game in London there. So, yes, Mark, maybe it's going to take the Jags moving to Orlando. We need a Disney atmosphere for the Colts to get back on track down there.
The Jaguars fans, though, would still say, nope, doesn't count. Didn't beat them in our building.
Are there Jaguars fans?
There has to be.
Yeah.
They at least show out for those games.
Have you not seen in London?
Yeah.
They're all in London, Kevin. That's where Jag fans reside.
So are they still in Jacksonville this year, though? This year will be Jacksonville. Next year starts Orlando?
Correct. 2027. They'll be in Orlando. All right, Major League Baseball last night. Apparently the Reds will not go 161-1, Kevin. Somehow, some way, they dropped a game at home to the Pittsburgh Pirates. 8-3 was the final score there. Really, the problem was O'Neal Cruz, who had a pair of home runs in the Pirates' win. The Cardinals shut out the Mets by a score of 3-0. White Sox, surprisingly, Mark, lost a game to the Miami Marlins 9-2. And the Chicago Cubs were shut out by the Angels 2-0.
That's how it goes. Baseball changes every single day.
That's exactly how that goes. What else do we have to tell you? Tiger Woods, Kevin, will step away from golf for a while. He's going to enter rehab. Also, he's demanded a jury trial and pled not guilty to DUI with property damage and refusal to submit to a DUI test after being involved in that two-car accident last week in his hometown of Jupiter, Florida. So we'll see how that all plays out.
Yeah, and I thought that statement from Tiger last night, first off, the fact that it had zero mention of golf in it is probably the most important thing that was needed for him. When I heard that news on Friday, I was just, with the kids on spring break, but my first thought was, oh, wow, did he die? And maybe that's a little jarring, but frankly, if you look at it, he probably should have died in the car accident out in California several years ago. Police report indicates there he was accelerating through the crash, going north of 80, 90 miles per hour, flipping that car over. The man needs help, period. Help. He needs help, and he needs a driver. And so, yeah, I think this is exactly what Tiger and his team and the people that, frankly, have probably enabled them too much needed to do. So, yes, go away, Tiger. I know it sounds kind of wild to say, but get help. And, at some point, as a dad more than anything, come back and be there for your kids and see what happens after that.
I saw a headline where it said NBC News apologizes for showing the wrong Tiger Woods crash images. I'm like, the real headline is that there's multiple to choose from.
Right. Yeah. So NBC leading into their golf coverage this weekend, they showed the California crash, not the Florida one. Yeah. I couldn't agree more, Mark. I mean, it's, yeah, and my hand is raised. I've fallen into the superhero of the, oh my gosh, I just want to see him play, and oh my, yeah, who cares about this? Sweep it under the rug. You can figure it out after the Masters here in a week or two. No, man needs.
He's in trouble.
Help.
The key statement you talked about that statement. Key quote from there is, "I'm committed to taking the time needed to return in a healthier, stronger, and more focused place, both personally and professionally. I appreciate your understanding and support, and ask for privacy for my family, loved ones, and myself at this time."
And the Masters also said he won't even be there for the Champions Dinner next week, which, again, I think this is a true get away, take care of yourself first.
Yeah. They've announced the Indiana Junior All-Stars core group. That's 6 players that will for sure be a part of the Indiana All-Stars when they play the Senior All-Stars and also the Kentucky Junior All-Stars. Harper Baker Lands from Plainfield, Jason Garter Jr. from Fishers, Isaiah Hill from Pike, Jahari Miller from Pike, Max Weiss from Mount Vernon, Cooper Zacher from Fishers as well. That's a pretty good group right there.
Mark, we'll have Jason Gardner's father, correct? Join us tomorrow.
Correct. Yep.
All right. Looking forward to that.
Absolute legend, of course, in this state, and a legend there for Arizona. He's the director of player relations for Tommy Lloyd's staff out there. One of those decorated players ever in Arizona history, and obviously, I think many people remember his days at North Central and, of course, the shot he hit against Bloomington South. So Jason Gardner going to join us coming up tomorrow.
If you're into high school basketball, the Chipotle Nationals High School Tournament gets underway starting tonight at Hamilton Southeastern High School. It should be 16 of the top 25 USA Today schools will be there. Nobody from Indiana, by the way, but it starts tonight out at HSE, and I know that's something that James Boyd would certainly be interested if he was back from the NFL league.
Well,
meetings.
I think the state champion should qualify. I think Mount Vernon should be playing in that.
I do too.
Screw those prep schools. Let's get Mount Vernon in there. See if they can guard Luke Ertl and Max Weiss.
I'm all for it. Let's
Bobby
go.
Allen's company should be out there. Let's get the Royals out there.
Anything else you want to throw in?
Did you mention the Pacers tonight?
Pacers tonight. I was getting to that as we go to break, but yeah, they will get underway on a road trip in Chicago tonight, 8 p.m. tip, 7:30 airtime here on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Right now they are tied with the Washington Wizards for the worst record in the league at 17-58 with 7 games remaining.
A lot of guys out. It does look like Pascal Siakam. It is pretty crazy. Like, we've reached April and Pascal Siakam is still playing for the Pacers. You know, I think we've seen a lot of teams around them shut down players of Siakam's history. So he will play. Sounds like a lot of guys, though, will be out for tonight. Again, they're still in a decent spot, even if they win a game or two to maintain the best odds. So, as you said, 7 to go. And actually, the Bulls have been a team that they've really beaten quite a few times this season.
All right, so that comes your way tonight. A reminder, too, the Fan Invitational 2026 golf outing presented by Franciscan Health is really starting to fill up now, Kevin. People are getting on it. The weather has turned. People are starting to think about golf. 1075thefan.com is where you want to go and get your reservation for that golf tournament. Starts at 10:30 on April 30th. That's a Thursday down at Legends Golf Club. Proceeds benefit the Franciscan Health Foundation. You'll be able to take advantage of free cancer screenings that are going to be available on site, courtesy of the Franciscan Health Cancer Center. But you're going to be out there hitting long drives. I'll be out there. Eddie White's going to be there. Matt Taylor's going to be the starter on hole number 1. A chance again, Kevin, to win a brand new set of Mizuno golf clubs, courtesy of our friend Mizuno Kim Henderson. Looking forward to that. Other great prizes. I saw some things come in from the Colts and the Pacers that you can bid on yesterday. There are rumors that there could be former Major League Baseball players that we all know and love here on the station.
Mark Dykman, some crispy Mizunos in your golf bag. Are you allowed to win those?
I don't know. I'd have to ask legal. I collect my check for $1,000.
You can ask that question on the chat. You know, they have that little chat thing at the bottom there.
Can I win? No, I had the little white ball in the air yesterday a little bit. Driving range action.
Nice.
It was gorgeous.
Oh, where at?
How'd it go?
Down in Plainfield. Went to the Brew Link down there and hit some balls and everything like that. Trying to teach the girls a little golf.
It's a windy day to try to keep that ball online, Mark.
I know.
Very jealous of that. Good for you.
Nice job.
Nice way to spend an evening.
Yeah.
All right. Get them involved. Teach all those girls to play golf. You
the
guys
next Nelly Corda in the Dyke family.
Addison wants to try golf. I was like, okay.
Good.
Let's go then.
Hope she's got the mental makeup of her mother, not her father, out on the golf course.
Are you suggesting there may be flying golf clubs if you won the Mizunos?
I don't know.
Would they stay safe if you won the Mizunos?
Those would stay safe. The ones I have might be in trouble.
4 hours of focus is a lot for one Marcus Steichen.
When are you playing a round of golf in 4 hours these days on a public course? Does that happen? Does that happen anymore?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Coming up in a moment, we'll talk more about the Colts and league meetings down in Phoenix and what it means for the team in 2026. It's coming your way next. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Good morning. The sun's starting to creep up over the horizon now. A little bit of daylight out there as we get ready to go for another Wednesday. And I'm a little bummed, Mark Deichen, because you were out playing some golf yesterday. I did get on the bike for a few minutes yesterday, which was good, about 55 minutes. And that's good because I think it's going to be kind of off and on rain for the rest of the week is what it looks like.
That's why we did it last night, because I'm like, the rest of the week looks really crappy. Lots of rain and storms in the forecast. I'm like, if we're going, we better do it today because I don't know what the rest of the week is going to bring us. So we did that and had a good time. The girls were excited because I was like, okay, we'll do
So did you have littler golf clubs for them to swing, or how's that work?
No, so I just have mine at the moment because, again, when they say they want to try golf, I take that with a grain of salt because I'm like, okay, well, the kids' golf clubs aren't much cheaper than adult ones. So I was like, well, we can try. Let's choke up big time on these clubs and let's just give it a whirl. So they had a good time. They wanted to keep going. I'm like, no, we're going to slow it down here. We're losing daylight here and all that stuff. So they had a good time. We enjoyed ourselves, but then they got the McDonald's meals and all that stuff because, like, if we're good, can we get Happy Meals? I'm like, oh, sure. Let's do that. Let's enjoy a little extra snack on spring break. So they did that.
Well, if Addison wants to get really serious about it, and she does get serious, I still have the boys' little kid clubs.
Okay.
Maybe keep that in mind for Max,
I will take you up
too.
on that probably.
Keep that in mind for Max, too,
Let's
Kevin.
Let's go.
One thing we didn't mention a moment ago that I did want to get to today, and we'll talk about the Colts coming up in just a second. Did you see the IHSAA released new sectional assignments for football and basketball and even some more sports yesterday, Kevin? Did you catch that?
I scanned it. Did I miss something big?
Just, for example, like Class 6A, the sectional 3, with Carmel, Fishers, Hamilton, Southeastern, and Westfield. Basketball on 4A, Floyd Central, Jeffersonville, New Albany, and Seymour. Some coaches have questioned distant pairings like Noblesville with Jeffersonville and things of that nature. Like, I'm not going to go into every single school, but if you're interested in that kind of thing, you may want to go look it up. Be kind of interesting because some of those sectionals sound like buzzsaws, man.
Well, and yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to go down this path, I mean, 6A from where are our biggest schools? Unfortunately, a lot of them reside right here, Southern Indiana in particular. I think, like Center Grove and then Whiteland jump up, I think. How many Southern schools are actually 6A? Is Jeffersonville 6A? I don't know if there is an Evansville school that's 6A. And obviously you fall into kind of that Hamilton County area that you probably have to throw one of those schools into Fort Wayne, which, complicates things from a sectional standpoint. So, yeah, I guess, do you see the old football state tournament? Do you see the basketball state tournament? That's a debate that we've had before. Remember, we had Shane Sumter, Braden Smith, the high school coach, on last year, and he mentioned that. He'd like to see a seeding. And, of course, he comes from Sectional 8 from a basketball standpoint, and you understand that when you watch that sectional and see teams that inevitably bow out on Tuesday or Wednesday night.
Well, Kyle Neddenrip, I'll just read from his story today, one quick sentence where he says, 2 sentences anyway, a couple. He says, my eyes are always drawn to Class 6A football. One of the biggest changes will come on the north side of the bracket with Carmel, Westfield, Fishers, and Hamilton Southeastern in the same sectional. Wow. Any one of those teams over the last couple of years could have been a contender to get all the way to at least semi-state.
Sure. Now then you look at the rest of their path versus the South, and I think you'd rather be in the North than the South if you're really going to get into the nitty-gritty of what a path looks like for the Southern 6A portion of the state past the sectional round versus what that Northern run would look like.
Zionsville jumps from the north to the south. How about that? Joining Avon, Ben Davis, and two-time defending state champion Brownsburg. Decatur Central, which has one more year in 6A.
Watch out for the Bulldogs now.
I know.
Hey now. Addison Deichen, girls golf state champ.
You know it.
Not that far away. But yeah, Decatur Central's got one more year in 6A. They will move from sectional 6 to 7 with Franklin Central, Perry Meridian, Southport, and Warren Central. So, you look, there are a couple of these that are just going to be tough, Kevin. So that's how it goes. If you're going to win state, you got to beat everybody, right? At the end of the day. That's how that works there. All right. League meetings continue in Phoenix for the National Football League. Man, that sure sounds like they are getting ready to go to war with the referees, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a war that I want to watch or that will end well either.
Man, I don't. for a multi-billion-dollar company, why does it seem to be so hard for them to not only get the best officials in the world, train the best officials in the world, but then pay the best officials in the world? Why does that all seem so difficult, Kevin?
Well, there's probably it's the NFL, but honestly, the NFL does a whole lot right as well, why they are as big as they are. But yeah, this one just seems like I guess the old deadline spur action. I don't know. It's April 1st. Maybe in July this will be a non-story. Better be a non-story. Yeah, we can't have the replacement ref fiasco that we had, whatever that was, a handful of years ago at this point.
All right. As far as the Colts are concerned, though, we've heard from Carlie Gordon. We've heard from Chris Ballard over the last few days. And really, Chris didn't say anything really different than he told us over at the the Combine. Did he say anything? Did you hear anything relatively or markedly different from then? Maybe a few comments on things that have happened since then. But
do you think Anthony Richardson could be on this team here in 2.5 weeks when the offseason program begins?
I think it depends on what his group, his management team feels like they can get for a trade. Remember, they asked permission to seek a trade. That was granted. I don't know what they've been able to find because he wants to start over and find a place where he could at least have a path to becoming a starting quarterback again at some point in time. With Daniel Jones now under contract, unless Jones gets hurt, that's not going to be here. And you almost wonder if Riley Leonard has passed him up on the depth chart.
Yeah, I would say in Shane Steichen's eyes, yes. My answer would be he believes Riley Leonard will be this team's number one quarterback in the spring. We'll see how much Daniel Jones can do, if any, from just a stationary throwing standpoint. But yes, I think the Colts, Shane Steichen especially, expects Riley Leonard to be the team's starting quarterback for the spring. The Richardson question, it might just be more just a formality than anything. But, again, you are 2.5 weeks away from your offseason program starting. You would think for Richardson's sake, if he wants to really be somewhere else, he would want to be there for day one of the offseason program. I think it's vitally important if you're trying to resurrect your career and get a second, home, that you want to be there as early as possible, for playbook, studying and getting to know teammates and coaching staffs and all that stuff. Of course, he's still under contract here in Indy. So, do the Colts look at it and say, hey, we're going to at least hold on to you through the draft, see how the draft plays out? Sometimes that first week of May, right after the draft, can be a little bit of, I don't want to say a second free agency, but it can be a little active around the league of, hey, we told free agents that we wanted to see what happened in the draft. The draft played out in a way we didn't expect. Now let's go back, make a free agent signing, make a trade, something along those lines. So, those are probably a couple things that I'll be watching. But, as far as Ballard said, big picture and, where they're at team philosophy-wise, nothing really. I mean, the defensive line, I said it yesterday, and I'll say it until September 10th or whenever week one is. There's not a more important player on the Colts team next season outside of Daniel Jones than Laiatu Latu. He is the easily number 2 on that list. Higher than Sauce Gardner, higher than Jonathan Taylor, higher than Alec Pierce, Bernard Ryman. Latu means so much given the makeup of that defensive line room.
You go up and down that defensive line, and we see that. And, another guy that they were pinning big hopes on last year hardly got on the field. What was it, 27% snap share for JT Tuimoloau?
Gosh, was it even that high? I mean, he was a healthy and active for a while there. And, again, him as a second-round pick out of Ohio State, I think the thought was he would be ready to impact a little bit earlier than most. He was great in Ohio State's run to the national title against, very good opponents throughout that run there. And yet he came here and, hardly cracked the lineup. So, yes, a lot is going to be expected of him. But, again, that's where I sit here and definitely have questions about the offseason, about, you actually getting better, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. I think linebacker will be interesting to watch. Ballard mentioned they have had success with younger linebackers playing, and he's 1,000% correct. Ballard has done a great job at drafting linebackers. The one question I would have is those linebackers have played in systems that aren't Lou Anarumo's. Lou Anarumo's system is a little bit more, exotic, diverse, however you want to call it. It's not as vanilla as what you had with Gus Bradley and even Matt Eberflus, if you want to go back to that era. So,
I do not want to go back to that era. No, thank you. Hard pass on that one.
Have you had that experience yourself?
Yes, just a bit.
Where is Flus? Did he got the heave-ho from Dallas, right?
I think he's in San Francisco now.
Is he?
I think.
Is he taking over for Robert Saleh, who's now in Tennessee?
I'm not sure. I'm always shocked. I'm like, how does he keep getting gigs? What does he have on these coaches in the league?
Mark watching his girls hit balls yesterday with a Eberflus voodoo doll in the background, just poking holes with golf tees in it.
Yeah, he's on San Francisco as an assistant head coach.
Look at that. Pretty good place to cling to, right?
Not too shabby.
But again, linebacker to me, do you need a little bit more of the veteran route, or can you once again hit on this draft? A lot of people like Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech, Anthony Hill out of Texas, the kid out of Cincinnati, Golbey, or I'm probably butchering a little bit of that, but some of those linebackers appears to be some depth in the draft.
How do you think the other teams have done in the offseason in our division, the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars specifically? We just talked about Robert Saleh is going to take over at Tennessee now and see if he can get Cam Ward going in his second year. And I don't know. In terms of relatively the moves that have been made, how do you feel about the Colts standing in the division right now?
Yeah, I mean, Houston, I honestly think the Braden Smith move is a smart one for them. I get that, he's had some injuries here in the past couple of years, but, when healthy, he's played, I think, still quality football for you. And that's really the question with Houston, O-line. So they have tried to make some changes to that group and kind of fortifying what's in front of C.J. Stroud. Jacksonville, I don't recall much they've done. They lost
guys.
They lost, and we're not calling him Travis Etienne anymore. Is that right? There's a new name, a new pronunciation of his last name.
I think he's always called it Etienne, right?
Yeah, well, let's just call him Travis for the sake of us not sounding like idiots. So yeah, he's now with the Saints. So who is he's been very productive against the Colts over the years. I'm eager to see, just out of entertainment, I'm eager to see Travis Hunter with Jacksonville. The Colts didn't see him in either of those matchups last year. He was already out for the season. But did Jacksonville do a whole lot? It didn't seem like they were super active.
They lost Etienne. They lost Devin Lloyd. They lost Greg Newsome, Andrew Wingard, a few other guys. They kind of focused on re-signing a bunch of guys and maybe getting a little more depth at running back. But they picked up Chris Rodriguez from Washington. But I don't know that they necessarily got a lot better.
No, their headlines were subtractions more than additions.
What about the Houston Texans? How do you feel about them moving forward?
Well, again, if their O-line can be better, then that's really the one question that I feel like you have. I know there's a lot of this, C.J. Stroud debate. Part of times it's like, wait, the Texans made the playoffs in each of the first 3 years, and I would say Stroud did a lot of the heavy lifting in the first year or two. I get their defense now risen to be an absolute juggernaut here, but I think if their offensive line, when you keep it clean around Stroud, I think he can still be a really effective quarterback. I thought their young wideouts showed a little bit as well in trying to complement Nico Collins.
And they picked up Christian Kirk too in the offseason.
Houston did?
Yeah.
Why did I feel like
they traded for him?
Why did I feel like he was already on the Texans?
David Montgomery, they picked up from Detroit.
Yeah, so they've done kind of the veteran running back shuffle in and out a little bit here. So, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they've got a decent amount of draft picks, coming up here in a few weeks. So, they can try and add in that route. So,
don't forget EJ Speed.
Say it again.
Don't forget EJ Speed.
EJ Speed, yeah. There you go. He's found a nice little home there in Houston. So
Christian Kirk went to the 49ers, by the way.
Chris, he went to the 49ers. I have him listed on one of the depth charts here as having been traded for.
No, he went to San Francisco because I remember they paired up him and Mike Evans now.
Yeah. See, I remember
I got to get a new source over here.
Being on the Texans last year,
yeah,
and producing a little bit there late in the season.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm going back and looking at that. It's a bad site right here, apparently. I'm looking at their depth chart, but I do know that
blame it on April Fools. Blame everything on April Fools.
That's what it is today.
You got duped.
I do know that they had David Montgomery, though. That was a big offseason pickup.
Was it last year, Mark, that we might have had a Hunter Dickinson is back for an 8th year announcement on the show?
Yeah, probably.
Man.
Don't do any Oscar Clough stuff
Should we
today.
announce Chris Ballard signs a new 6-year contract?
Nothing Oscar Clough. Great point. Nothing on Oscar Clough. Yeah, nothing there at all. Yeah.
You don't want to hear Chris Ballard signs for a new 6-year deal?
Well, you might start quite the pile up on 465 if you.
I think I see pitchforks outside already.
That did not happen. We're just discussing possible
If you
April
announce
Fool's Day
that.
jokes that you could look for today. So, I know. I look at what the Colts did, and it seemed more like run it back, and how they do compared to Jacksonville, who seems like they're running it back. It looks like Look, I love that pickup for David Montgomery for them. They struggled with running the football last year.
Do you believe, as we get to the Final Four on Saturday, do you believe that we get in these football stadiums that teams that rely on the three-point line and depth perception and shooting in those environments, they get exposed?
I think it has more to do with the big environment in general and the way players feel about playing in that situation as opposed to the depth perception itself, because you usually get
The literal big environment of the Final Four, or the literal big environment of the venue?
The literal big environment of the Final Four, I think, has more to do with shooting percentages and shooting woes. You have time to go in there. Most of these guys at some point have played in a much bigger venue somewhere. Maybe not all of them, but you get a couple of sessions to kind of figure that depth perception out. I know that people have talked about that in the past, but I think good shooters get dialed in pretty quickly. I don't think you become a bad shooter all of a sudden because of that.
Yeah, three-point shooting numbers have been horrific in the last few national championship games. Purdue, if you look at it from a few years ago, they didn't shoot a lot, and not many went in against UConn. UConn didn't shoot it great from three last year. Florida and Houston, that was not a banner day from behind the arc. So, yeah, I think there are times like maybe it's a little overblown, but I think there also is some evidence that would point otherwise. And I actually bring it up because of Saturday. When you look at these Final Four teams, first off, Illinois uses the three-point line a ton. They have been great with it this season. Historically, they're one of the best offenses we've seen in college basketball. So I think that is a question that you would have for that team. And then if you look at the second game, the storyline with Arizona all year long has been they don't need the three-point line. I mean, they are a rare 2026 outlier when it comes to the analytic nerds out there. They would scoff at how little Arizona shoots the three and makes the three. So, if you're going to continue to play this game, does that benefit them? They don't need to be super reliant from behind the arc. And if you do have an off shooting night in the old, midfield court inside of a football stadium, that's not going to impact them as much as it might other teams. Michigan and UConn use it. They don't use it to the level of Illinois. So I don't know. It's just a thought that I feel like gets brought up this time every year. And, really when you look at these Final Four teams, they're all very gifted offensively, but Illinois and Arizona specifically, they're at two very ends of the spectrum when it comes to three-point usage.
The other thing about Michigan, too, we talked about this last week. They've scored over 90 points in all three of their tournament games so far, four of their tournament games. I mean, they're just rolling right now.
I thought I heard yesterday Arizona and Michigan, they average a 20-point margin over their opponents, and it's only the second time in the history of the Final Four that you will have a matchup of that. I mean, it's really a true generational Final Four matchup. And, Indy's had some unbelievable Final Four matchups, particularly on the Saturday nights. You go back to Duke and UNLV back in the day. I think back over a decade ago to Wisconsin and undefeated Kentucky. So some great games. And, UConn and Illinois, first off, I think it's an awesome undercard. But Michigan, Arizona, no matter how you slice it, record, offense, margin, their dominance. I mean, both of them won great conferences. I mean, look at the depth of the Big 12 this year. Look at the depth of the Big 10 this year. And Michigan won it, significantly. So, I can't wait. I'm ready.
And like I said, Michigan 101 against Howard, 95 against St. Louis, 90 against Alabama, 95 against Tennessee. They're bumping up at 100 every game they play, and this is the NCAA tournament, Kevin. They're rolling right now. It'll be interesting. That's going to be a great game.
Rolling.
Arizona, Michigan is going to be, I don't know, what's the over? Have you seen an over-under on that one yet, by chance?
I assume it's very high.
Man, we'll have to double check that and see exactly what's going on there. The other one, too, just fantastic. You want to talk about two teams. I mean, here's UConn. Hard to believe UConn's looking for a third title under Dan Hurley already. And they're not that far away, Kevin. Here they are coming to the Final Four.
Third title in 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Did you see he said he thought the ref wanted to have a chest bump?
Yes. But I
When they
wonder if
went
that
head
was
to head?
I wonder if it was in the stunned moment that was taking place, if that was just a body in front of him and he wasn't even aware that it was an official.
He's just a complete psychopath.
He looked like the guy that you were like, we shouldn't have invited him to the bachelor party.
Yeah.
We thought we needed energy, but then when the energy shows up, you're like, oh, damn. Can somebody take him home?
Whose cousin is this?
Literally.
Darren, get your guy.
You put him in a hotel for the night. He can't be at the Airbnb with us.
The jacket half off the shoulder and, walking around.
Now, I will say, Mark, maybe we can cut that clip from yesterday. We had Luke Meredith, Jeff, on yesterday. He is the head basketball coach for Braylon Mullins when Braylon was at Greenfield Central. And I first off, I thought I really enjoyed the conversation, but specifically, his discussion about the recruitment of Braylon Mullins and Dan Hurley, and honestly, just the frequency of Dan Hurley visiting Greenfield.
Wow.
And Luke Murray, Bill Murray's son, their top assistant, who just took the Boston College job. And you're kind of comparing it really to Indiana, and I think a little bit of Purdue, but certainly a lack of interest or showing up from Mike Woodson in that camp. I did think that was interesting to just hear, a little bit of a different perspective from Hurley, because, obviously the man is psychotic on the sidelines, but there's no debate he's the best coach in college basketball, right? And it's not like Braylon Mullins was a 5-star walking into Greenfield Central. This was a guy that really blossomed. This is not UConn's, fertile recruiting ground. It's not like they've got rich history in our state from a recruiting standpoint. It's not like the Hurleys have like direct ties. So, for them to identify Braylon Mullins, before he really blew up big time and, have the amount of recruitment that they did for him, I think is a major credit to their coaching staff, and clearly it's worked out for them.
Might give you some insight into how they're about to compete for a third title in 4 years, being able to identify talent that's going to work for them, and certainly what they do.
Are they the underdog of these four?
They no.
Can you call anybody the underdog?
They're, believe it or not, they're plus 1.5 right now against Illinois. So, Illinois has been playing really good basketball right now. We'll see what happens, and then.
The lines say that it's a Big Ten championship. That's what they're saying.
But small lines, right?
Very
small lines.
These are not
1.5.
Ellie De La Cruz lines.
They're both 1.5. By the way, the over-under for Michigan, Arizona is 157.5.
Jesus. Good Lord.
First one to 85 wins, maybe in that one, Kevin, you think?
Chen, that's how we're pronouncing Travis Etienne.
Chen, is that what it is now? Chen?
Isn't that the Miami running back?
I was going to say, that's
Devin. I had read an article.
Thank you, Robbie, for that.
Yeah, I'd read an article a couple years ago where he had said Etienne. So maybe it's a quicker pronunciation, Etienne, something like that. I don't know.
Price has fallen a little bit for the 3-session situation on the secondary market, just a tad. Cheapest ticket right now, $629 gets you in the door. But did you see
you and Nora, $1,200? Let's go.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if the check clears on the bracket challenge first. Did you see the images of like how far away you are if you have upper level seats to this?
It's tough, man.
It's like a mile away.
It's tough.
Better get the Kevin Bone binoculars out.
You're closer to DeForest Buckner's poster on the side of the building than you are to the court.
That's true.
The first time I ever saw a basketball game in that kind of setting was at the Seattle Kingdome.
Oh, man.
A million years ago when that thing was still alive. And I remember sitting in the upper deck. I went with a cousin, and we went and saw that for some reason they had a Sonics basketball game. You can't see anything. Just a bunch of little ants running around down there. It's tough.
What is this? A center for ants?
Nice poll, Mark Dayton. All right, coming up in a moment, we'll talk more about the Colts. The Pacers getting ready to get back on the floor tonight. Who will or will not play? We'll talk about that next. It's the Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Andy Moore campus out there in Avon, the one-stop shop. You've got some great brands out there, Volkswagen, Nissan, Toyota. How about the Kia brand out there? Right off Rockville Road, again, in Avon, the Kia brand. Telluride, Sorrento, Sportage, 0% APR for 48 months for qualified buyers on the 2026 Sorrento and Sportage. If you're not looking for new, you've got about 25 pre-owned vehicles under $15,000. If you are looking for new, they've got over 70. So you talk about affordability, they've got it over there. And now through the end of April, probably one of the best things with Kia, you buy 3 tires, you get a fourth for $1. That's $1 for a fourth tire there via the Kia brand. So again, Telluride, Sorrento, Sportage, you've got new vehicles, you've got some pre-owned as well. They can be full efficient hybrids to fit any budget you have out there. Again, the Andy Moore Group campus out there in Avon, and now through the end of April via Kia, you buy 3 tires, you get that fourth for $1. Head out to Rockville Road today. The Andy Moore Group campus awaits.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Good morning and welcome into the Fan Morning Show. Kevin, as you know, I had the opportunity to work John's show yesterday. John was off, so I moved over to the afternoon. And to my great, pleasant, and wonderful surprise, guess who showed up? Evan Sherrill and Cluster Truck.
Oh, look at that.
I had a little for dinner last night, Mark. I had a little Korean beef and broccoli.
Oh, there it
How
is.
about that?
That's the ideal. I thought I had a good Tuesday night.
Golly.
How wrong was I?
So did you like it better in the afternoon, or did you like
It's
it better?
always good.
Well,
the morning?
afternoon delight is what it sounds like.
They brought a little cake by and everything, man.
Whoa, cake? Well,
I
hold
know.
on. Hold the phone here.
I'm telling you.
What kind of cake was it?
Good. Kind of like a sugar type cake. I don't know. It was good.
Any cake is good cake for the most part.
Yeah, it was not bad at all. So that's how my night started last night. James, the producer there, is like, "Hey, yeah, what do you want from Cluster Truck, man? They're going to bring something over." I was like, "Okay. Do I need to submit an order?" Like, "No, just tell me what you want. They'll bring it by."
10-year anniversary of Cluster Truck. Shout out. Big fan. Your promo code there. If you're coming downtown, perfect, especially for this weekend. That Dunk Fest you still got available to you Saturday.
The
and
Kevin Bowen burger?
Monday. Kevin Bowen burger on the horizon. On the horizon.
I dig it. All right, so it is Wednesday. It is April Fool's. We will not be trying to get you with any kind of April Fool's jokes or anything like that.
People are tagging me and stuff.
Are they?
And I don't know if I'm, I'm trying to vet it. I'm not saying anything on air. I'll be vetting things before it is said on air.
It may be 30 minutes before we actually report breaking news today.
I can't. I can't say anything out loud. You have to vet it all.
Just be head on a swivel today. That's what you want to do, Mark. Head on a
Always,
swivel.
especially today.
Have your kids picked up on April Fool's Day jokes yet?
They've heard of them, but I feel like, especially during spring break, they fall a little flatter. Like maybe at school, that would be a little more prominent. I'm not trying to fool them today. Yeah. I'm just trying to get through the day with my sanity.
I have
2 weeks of spring break stinks, by the way, as a parent. It is brutal. What are we doing today? Can't we sit on the couch and just relax? What is it? We got to make memories every single day?
No, preach.
Good Lord.
That might be the smartest thing.
I just wanted to sit home and eat ice cream and watch Jerry Springer on spring break back when I was a kid. Now we got to go do something every day.
Is Springer still on?
No.
He's
dead, isn't he?
He's
gone.
Still, well, I mean, you could go.
They
reruns,
just put to bed the what was the other one? Steve Wilkos.
Yeah, I can't believe that was still on.
They put that one to bed.
So are they all dead? Maury, all of them?
I think Maury might still be on.
No, Maury's off. They ran out of paternity tests to
Are
run.
you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
I can still hear the "You are not the father."
And then the dancing.
And then the running around backstage, being chased back down.
I mean,
it was the same show every day.
Every
like
day.
Dan Hurley celebrating a Braylon Mullins game winner.
We need to get a studio audience so every once in a while they can just start going, Kevin.
Oh, we could do that. I want someone to throw a chair, though.
James would be throwing a chair. I could see him picking one up.
Maury, I think, is still with us, but the show is not.
Okay. Pacers get back on the floor tonight on the road in Chicago to take on the Bulls. The question is, though, who's going to be available in this one? Aaron Nesmith, Jarris Walker didn't even hardly practice yesterday. It looks like they're going to be out tonight, according to Rick Carlisle. That's what he told the paper today. Andrew Nembhard, T.J. McConnell have also been ruled out tonight. They're dealing with some nagging injuries, but it does look like Pascal Siakam and Obi Toppin are probable.
I still can't believe Pascal Siakam's suiting up. I mean, kudos to him. Kudos to the Pacers. Boy, just fingers crossed he can stay healthy here. But, it is kind of amazing. You look at a lot of these teams around, the Wizards, the Kings. I mean, they have sat their frontline dudes weeks ago, months ago. And here's Siakam still out there playing. And it's not like, it'd be one thing I think if Zubats was with him. You're trying to get a little bit of chemistry built, albeit I think it's difficult without Tyrese Halliburton to kind of fully get there. So, again, the Pacers still in a very comfortable spot here, as long as they don't do anything too crazy. Win 5 of 7, 6 of 7, something like that to end the season.
Even then, that's going to be tough. I just don't see them winning more than one or two more games. Do you?
Well, I got no idea who these,
who they're going to play.
Haven't they beaten the Bulls already this year, like a couple times?
Hasn't everybody beaten the Bulls a couple of times this year, Mark?
It seems like. I don't think they're trying anymore. They shipped everybody off or waived them.
Is this the first year they won't be in the play-in?
Them and the Heat are looking
around.
Telling
me I'm not watching Bulls Heat in the play-in for the 37th
what a shame.
Year.
Those poor viewers.
Oh, man. I'm looking at the Pacers right now. Games played. Siakam has 60 games played this year. He's been the guy. Jay Huff has played 75, Walker 73.
So Jay Huff's played every
63. Game? Yeah, Jay Huff has played in every single game.
How about that?
Jarris Walker's played in all but 2.
Shout out to Jay Huff. Every single game.
But to your point, this year, particularly with the injuries he's had, 60 of 75 is pretty good for Pascal Siakam.
Oh, certainly. Certainly.
Man. That's what we're talking about. How many games has each player played for the Pacers? Nembhard's played 57, McConnell 56, Nesmith 45. Man, that's tough. Been a tough year, no question about that. And we'll see how it all plays out at the end. But they'll be in Chicago tonight, 7:30 airtime, 8 o'clock tip here at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. And then, we just like to see if any other news comes out of the NFL league meetings. They'll finish up a little bit later on today, but I think we pretty much heard what we're going to hear from there, I would imagine.
Joel A. Erickson, he was out there. He's going to join us coming up at 9. Mark, do you have that Carlie Gordon audio? This is from, I believe, her conversation with J.J. Stankovitz of the Colts. And the question was more rooted in just kind of like the trio, the GM, head coach, QB trio, all, coming back, and Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen and Daniel Jones. And, as Carlie started to answer it, she then got into a little bit of the hiring of a head coach and a GM. And I do think this is a debate we currently have. Chris Ballard is going into his 10th year as general manager. Shane Steichen is going into his 4th year as head coach. For Chris Ballard, it's a contract year. For Shane Steichen, he's got what? I think it's 3 more years on his contract. So you guys see if you hear the same thing here. This is Carlie Gordon out there at the league owners meetings earlier this week.
With Chris and Shane, obviously, I think one of the biggest pieces I always say is, we did a regression analysis a long time ago about, what is sort of I don't want to call it the kiss of death for where a general manager and a head coach don't succeed. And one of the things that we found is when you simultaneously hire them, and when you think about it, it makes total sense. So imagine hiring one person that has to do this, another person, and you just are like, I hope you get along, versus I think that, Chris, with his tenure with us, I think we were able to go out when we found Shane and really make sure that we had someone that complemented Chris's style. And I think they have a great relationship. I love working with them.
Yeah, I would say I love the play calling ability that Shane Steichen has, and maybe he is or isn't a good head coach. I'm not entirely convinced yet. But whatever they're doing together, whether they get along and complement each other's style, it's not working, Kevin.
So I'm probably overreading that, but does that mean that she doesn't want to hire a GM and a head coach in the same year, the same cycle?
That's kind of what I heard.
Yeah, but then she I thought backtracked on it. I don't know. I guess so. Yeah.
That's, to me, is quite the news item. I mean, first off, you hear that, and it's once again, and I don't know if we need the Irsay words. I think the Irsay actions have spoken loudly enough, but the Irsay words right there, I mean, boy, Chris Ballard is in just a great position with that family. I mean, just in how he is viewed organizationally, it's incredible. Find you a boss that loves you as much as the Irsays love Chris Ballard. I think that's my April Fool's advice for the day, and there's no April Fool's about that. Find you a boss. Jeff, please, will you love me as much as the Irsays love Chris Ballard? I'm begging you.
I think you're not that far away, but you've never given me reason not to.
Oh,
Look at this.
Thank you. Can I hug him?
No,
well, I don't want to go to an HR
Let's not
meeting
go there. Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, I hear that. I'm like, okay, what does that mean for the next era? Like, if we're trying to project this out and you all of a sudden are feeling the need to start over, are you hiring a GM 1 year and then the head coach another year? And then trying to fit the head coach to the GM? Because that's what it sounds like right there, right? Doesn't that sound like to you they tried to fit the head coach to Chris Ballard?
A little bit.
When that hire was made in 2023?
But also, don't you think a general manager is going to hire someone himself that he's comfortable working with?
Well, yes, but, again, did Chris Ballard, I guess, earn the right to be in that sort of position? And okay, let's fast forward. Here's 8 months. Let's say the Colts have a poor season. Does that mean that they're not going to hire a GM and a head coach in the same offseason? Like, to me, it doesn't seem like that crazy of an idea to say, all right, whatever. If you need to get ahead of things, you could fire the GM or the head coach with a month to go in the regular season if you'd like. Start doing your research. Hire that GM within the first week of the offseason. There's no rules in regards to that. And then what do we see typically with head coaching hires? They tend to bleed a little bit more into January. Sometimes the head coach that candidate you want to hire is on a playoff team. So you've got to wait a little bit longer. That would allow for you to hire the GM and then the GM, of course, to go through the head coaching hiring process. To me, that does not seem that crazy, that difficult to do, because I think it's really awkward when you have a GM and a head coach, i.e. right now, on different alignments. Like, are they tied at the hip or are they not?
Well, that was the famous Irsay thing, remember, with Chuck Pagano and Ryan Grigson.
Right. So if I asked you right now to give me a letter grade for the Chris Ballard era. Letter grade, the first letter that pops into your mind.
C minus.
C minus. Letter grade for the Shane Steichen era.
B minus.
Do you keep one? Does that mean you're keeping Steichen and you're firing Ballard? I mean, again, it's two different letter grades. And I think a lot of people.
What would you give them?
Well, I think a lot of people would argue the C minus is generous for Chris Ballard. I'd go more in the D area. So that, to me, is a much bigger gap when you're evaluating each of them individually. I think it's really, really murky when you start to have a GM and a head coach on different timelines and the blame game, the inevitable, he said, she said, well, I drafted the right guys, they didn't develop them. Well, we could, coach the right guys. We just don't draft the right guys. sounds like a very messy relationship to me.
I think for both of them, I think they got to make something happen. Like if you want to talk about what she said earlier this year about urgency, like to me, I interpret urgency as get to the postseason and maybe even win a game, because that's something this team doesn't do. Did you hear that when she said that a few months ago?
Yeah. Yes. I again, she said the word, the phrase higher sense of urgency, but again, I guess I'm in a little I'll believe it when I see it of, exactly what does that mean per se, because I would argue there needed to be higher sense of urgency in 2025 and 2024 and 2023. That's when I would have canned it all, 2022. After that, when you started over with Steichen, that to me was, okay, start over with the GM as well. Align them together and then move forward. So I don't know. Maybe I'm overreading that. It seemed a little odd to me. I don't know. Maybe it sounds like, Mark, are you and I on the same page?
Yeah. I don't understand that logic. Like, you've done an analysis, and that's how you've determined that they should stay together, because if you do them separately, then I don't know. I don't get it. That seems like weird logic to run it back once again when you don't have the success to back it up at all.
We've got plenty of time to talk about in this offseason. The draft coming up towards the end of April. We'll see what the Colts do without a first-round pick again, and what kind of moves they may or may not make, and what happens with Anthony Richardson. So many questions still to answer for the Colts in this upcoming offseason. Everything else you need to know for right here, right now is here.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
To expand on that Colts storyline over at the league meetings in Phoenix this week, I guess we found out that there will be an open competition at the safety spot now that Nick Cross is gone. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right, Kevin?
Well, I mean, I think Nick Cross is a quality player, so yeah.
No, I miss him, but I'm talking about the open competition.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing or not. I guess we'll have to see how it plays out. But, I think that's one of the positions you look at and you say, have you gotten better? I think it'd be unfair to Nick Cross to say you've gotten better.
I love Nick Cross. You know that.
At that spot there. So we'll see how the open competition plays out. Again, Hunter Wohler, the 7th-round pick last year out of Wisconsin, had a really nice rookie offseason, and then Liz Frank injury in August, and he's never played a snap in the NFL. So we'll see how that plays out. Jonathan Owens, Wanye Thomas, another couple free agent signings.
I'm intrigued by him, Thomas, to see if he can play a little bit.
Yeah, again, not a lot of starting experience in the league. I think it's 3 or 4 starts in 3 years. So, no matter who they choose, you are going to be projecting someone that really doesn't have much of an NFL background from a consistent starting standpoint.
All right, a couple of other notes from yesterday. Jacksonville announced that they'll be playing in Orlando for the 2027 season as they give a big facelift to their stadium down in Jacksonville. Are we getting to the point with Jacksonville they only play like 3 games a year at home? Even after 2027 with a new stadium.
They always beat the Colts in one of those 3 games.
That's true. Also, Roger Goodell, Mark, says the Bears need to figure out where they're going to play and pick something soon. Let's go.
Well, Kevin Warren says that they're supposedly going to pick one by the summer. I'm like, can we fast track that a little sooner? We're just starting the springtime. Can we get it going here? Get some shovels in the ground somewhere.
It's about time we rock our Hammond shirts.
I know. Mark. I haven't heard anything about anything lately about all that.
All right. Indiana Pacers back on the floor tonight. They'll be in Chicago to start a brief road trip. They are tied for the worst record in the league right now with the Washington Wizards. Both of them are 17-58. Also, Pacers forwards Aaron Nesmith, Jarris Walker will not play tonight, according to Rick Carlisle. Point guard Andrew Nembhard and T.J. McConnell have also been ruled out because of injuries that they've been dealing with over the last couple of weeks. But it does look probable for Obi Toppin and Pascal Siakam. So tune in tonight, see what happens.
Yeah, Siakam playing a ton here.
All right. What else can we tell you? Oh, last night in the NBA, the Lakers won, and LeBron James becomes the all-time winningest player in NBA history. Teams that he's played for, he's won more games than anybody else, 1,229. And we were talking about this a little bit last hour. Lakers, with Luka playing as well as he is, and I think he became the 3rd fastest player to get to 15,000 points last night. You get to the postseason where LeBron only has to play every other day or even every other 3rd day, depending on how things go in that forever first round. They could be a problem right now. They're playing really good basketball.
If you're the Thunder, who scares you the most? Spurs, Lakers, Nuggets.
That's a gauntlet. I'd probably, as of right this second, I still think the Spurs are going to be a little bit of a problem. Then I'd go the Lakers, and I wish the Nuggets were. You don't want to play them necessarily, but they just don't have depth. Just don't have enough depth to get through the postseason anymore.
But to your point, is depth is key in the postseason when you're only playing every second or third night.
Yeah, well, it's going to be fun, but again, as you pointed out last hour, not something we need to worry about here in Indiana, is it?
No. Mother's Day. That's what we're worried about. Ping pong balls bouncing the right way. Have the Pacers said who they're going to put up there on the old lottery?
Who would you pick
stage
at this point in time?
You just go with Tyrese? Is that the easy answer?
Could be Tyrese. Who would you put up there, Mark?
Yeah, I would say Tyrese.
I think if Nancy Linder was still with us, the bomb of the Pacers on Mother's Day, that would seem to be the obvious one, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we picked that woman from who was yelling at the Knicks fans on the documentary.
Oh, yeah.
You remember her? Is she a mom? We can throw her up there.
How about Julie Rowe?
She might throw some middle fingers your way.
How about Julie Rowe Lash? How about that?
Mrs. Hurley certainly would be throwing some middle fingers.
There you go.
She'd also be shocked if they didn't get. She'd have some 4-letter words to describe if they didn't get the top pick.
Did she go S and F, Mark, if I read her mouth correctly?
Holy S and then F, right? Major League Baseball last night, it was a rough one for our Reds, Kevin. I was convinced after a 3-game winning streak that they would go 161-1. That apparently is not going to be the case. O'Neal Cruz hit a pair of home runs for the Pirates last night. They won at Great American Ballpark 8-3. Cardinals did shut out the Mets 3-0. The Cubs, Mark, shut out yesterday.
Yeah, that game stunk. I was watching that after we hit the golf ball a little bit. I'm like, what is this? What is happening here? It's the Angels, for God's sake.
Yeah, Jose Soriano was a problem for them yesterday.
Not ideal. Get the rubber match today.
Miami Marlins beat the White Sox by a score of 9-2 yesterday as well. And Kevin, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but Tiger Woods says that he is going to step away from golf and enter rehab on a day where also his lawyers demanded a jury trial and pled not guilty to DUI with property damage and refusal to submit to a DUI test. He was involved in that 2-car accident last week.
Good. He needs help. He doesn't need to be around the game of golf at all right now. I'm glad he's not going to be at the Masters next week. The guy needs real help. He needs it for his own life, certainly as a father, before he ever sniffs, thinking about playing golf again. So I was glad to read that statement. What was it, about 5-6 sentences, and there was no mention of golf whatsoever in the statement. I know we talked about it in the opening hour, but I think what sums up the Tiger Woods situation is, for those that were watching NBC over the weekend, they were getting ready for their golf coverage, and they mentioned the car crash, and the footage they played from the car crash was the one in California.
Oops.
Not the one in Florida. And I don't say that in a joking manner. I say that in a sad manner. The fact that there's multiple of these, and frankly, if you look at the police report, he's lucky to have survived both. Certainly the first one. He was still accelerating through the crash. I think it's horrific. He continues to put his own life and especially others at risk. So get help, get a driver before we ever talk about, you playing golf again.
And get healthy, to your point, too. He's got a couple of great kids that he needs to look after. They're growing up, and Charlie looks like he's a pretty good golfer, and who knows what his collegiate career is going to look like, and if there's anything beyond, we'll see. But also last night, a little bit of a lighter note, certainly a lighter note. Had a goalie fight in the National Hockey League last night, Kevin.
Oh, I like those.
Goalie fight. Jacob Markstrom and Igor Shesterkin, Devils and Rangers, were playing last night, and it happens the same way every time. Something's been going on. They've been staring each other down across the ice all night long, and then one of them looks finally at the other one, and the second guy just drops the gloves, and they meet it at center ice, and it's on.
That's a lot of staring through a lot of people, right? I mean, and are you reading body language correctly? Is he looking at me? Am I looking at him? Did he just head nod me? Is he looking at the girl in the front row behind me?
How do those get started? I don't understand.
I feel like it's a lot of they got to be great at reading body language.
I would imagine they just keep staring each other down throughout the night, and it gets to a point where one of them is like, I've had enough. And it's the international signal in hockey. When the gloves come off.
Nope, he just pointed at his 5-hole. That's at me. I'm coming after him.
Speaking of the international signal, did you guys see some of these countries that qualified for the World Cup yesterday and some of the celebrations in their countries.
It's big time.
Oh my gosh, I think it's awesome. Honestly, it kind of reminds me of the Venezuelan celebration in the World Baseball Classic. Like,
and that's the culture.
Pure, genuine country pride in their respective homelands qualifying is incredible. I believe the U.S. has now rounded out their group. They've got Turkey in their group, so Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. Those are the three opponents. I don't think that's the group of death.
No, not at all.
But how about this?
You better be able to advance out of that one, I'm saying.
I think so. I would like to see us win one of the knockout rounds, Mark. I want to see us get to the one-and-done format and win. I don't think we've been playing great football here lately, from what I can gather.
Could be worse. It could be Italy. That's the third World Cup in a row that they have not qualified.
Well,
how about that?
To be fair, the only reason we qualified is because we are hosting.
Well, they lost. They lost a pair of matches this past week.
We're the travel baseball team that we'll sponsor the jerseys. Okay. Max Bowen's on the team.
They got beat by Belgium 5-2 Saturday, and they lost to Portugal last night 2-0. They're not going in with a bunch of momentum here.
I'm gonna get into the World Cup.
We should do a World Cup draft. We draft the teams.
I think it's fascinating to me that we have the population size that we do, that we have the resources that we do, and yet the world's game we struggle. I think it's really, I don't know it's exactly the same, but, in hockey for several years, we were probably considered the underdog, right? In soccer, we're much more the underdog, given our history. So I think it's, I don't know. It's a different rooting. Like, when we watched our basketball team in the Olympics, it's like anything but winning gold's an absolute failure. In the World Cup, I mean, what are the Vegas odds? The Vegas odds would have us, getting 8th, 16th?
16th,
So
probably.
I feel like with soccer, too, like it's, you always hear, in other sports, it's always like, oh, this guy, like every year there's like a phenom coming up or someone that could be a generational talent. And in soccer in America, it's always like, oh, there's Freddie Adu, and then there's a big layoff, and then it's like, and then there's Christian Pulisic, and then it's like, well, now who? It's like there's one every once in a while. Like
it's still him, right?
Yes.
It's still Mr.
Yeah, Pulisic.
Pulisic. I'm always like, is it Poo or is it Pull?
Pull.
Depends
you always
on
want
how
to pull.
He's played.
But that's always my thing is that there's always these large gaps as far as like high end talent and like Pulisic plays in Europe, but other guys don't. Freddie Adu was a flash in the pan, and then he was done. It's just like, how come we don't have any? I don't know if they just don't stick with the sport as long or what the deal is.
DC United for Mr. Adu, if I remember correctly.
All right, coming up in a moment, some rules changes coming out of the league meetings yesterday. We'll talk about those and find out if Kevin thinks any of them are going to move the needle for fans. We'll do that next. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Galaxy Concrete Coatings, it's indoor, it's outdoor concrete. Indoor, think basements. Outdoor, think garages, patios, porches, sidewalks. GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com. That's a website. It's definitely something you have to go to probably first. Visually, you're going to want to see, okay, what does this look like? Style-wise, is it going to match our home? Is going to match our workplace? They can do that as well. Our home was 100 years old, so it was kind of like, all right, what exactly are we looking for here? We found the Jupiter style, Galaxy Jupiter style there, and it's been great for us. We've had it now for about 3 years. The install process took about 24 hours, so in and out, nothing too big there at all from a hassle standpoint. The manufacturers upgrade the warranty from 15 years to lifetime, so we love that. Again, it's indoor and outdoor concrete, GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com. Garages, basements, patios, porches, sidewalks. Contact them today. GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com.
Listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Along with Kevin Bowen and Mark Dykton, I'm Jeff Rickard. We've got James Boyd at the NFL meetings in Phoenix this week. He should be back tomorrow morning. I was just watching ESPN, and they're doing a thing on the Eagles and A.J. Brown right now. Kevin, what is it about wide receivers of any position in the NFL? Maybe a little bit cornerback too. Why is it that wide receivers can be so temperamental as compared to almost any other position in the league?
So, very politically correct word to use. I might use that in the Bowen household. See if
Temperamental.
See if I can get by with that. I don't know if I can.
Diva-like behavior?
No, they're out on an island and they're in a bunch of one-on-one battles, and I don't know, the glitz and the glamour of the flashy wideout. That's why I loved Michael Pittman Jr. for all those years. No USC pretty boy in one Michael Pittman Jr. Doesn't he fit being a Steeler?
He totally does. He's right in line with that. I was talking to the guys in Pittsburgh. I have some friends there that do the afternoon show, and they're asking me what to expect him. And I said, you know what? While he's not Hines Ward, you're going to like him. He's kind of in the Hines Ward mold. He'll make any block you need him to make. He'll do the dirty work, and he'll catch you a tough third down anytime you need it, too.
Can I share the April Fools that I think someone fell for? And maybe I'm wrong on this, but listener Tyler here tagged me in this morning. Mark, he actually tagged the show account. Did you see this?
I did not.
Okay, go to your mentions there. Actually, Mark, go to your mentions.
Okay. See
the one that Tyler tagged you in. Are you going April Fools or are you not going April Fools on that one?
Okay, let me see this here.
So far, we've had a pretty good morning, right? We haven't been duped. We're about 90 minutes in the show. We haven't been duped yet. Someone in the YouTube chat mentioned Anthony Richardson to the Rams for a 6th-rounder, according to a darn Schefter.
Oh.
I see the one that he sent us.
What do you think? Do you think April Fools?
I don't know. I would assume so, right? I mean,
go ahead and read it out loud.
It says, and this is from a Jeffrey Tompkins. It says, breaking, White Lotus Hotels decides Indianapolis will be its latest location. Across from Lucas Oil Stadium, plans include a first-of-its-kind casino adjacent to the Indiana Convention Center. Huge news for Central Indiana. Season 4 taking place in Indianapolis. Who would have known? Forget the tropical locales. We're going Midwest.
Casino downtown?
Walton Goggins showing up again.
Adjacent to the convention center?
Sure. I'd sign up for that.
So that is April Fool's, is what we're thinking there.
Of course.
I've got one that I think, it was sent to me overnight. I think it's legitimate because it's from Photo Guy. Anyway, Courtney Brooks sent me 2 pictures of, if they're true, Final Four. The road ends here, attached to those overpasses near the convention center, and the road's blocked off. The road ends here.
Well, indeed, there is a lot of construction.
There's a lot of road
you try to go
here.
You go a couple blocks south of us, you're getting turned over because there's the Ferris wheel's in the way.
Mark, you have a favorite musical act that will descend upon the Circle City here over the next few days?
I would say Post Malone. I would like to see him. Never
and that's
seen him
right
live
here,
yet.
right? That's out here at American Legion Mall. And those are free, correct? Those concerts are
We can
free?
ask Sarah when she joins us. I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah, I believe so. Sarah Meyer from Indiana Sports Court going to join us here coming up in about an hour. But, yes, I believe those are free. Post Malone, 21 Pilots, Zach Brown Band. I'm missing some others.
Chainsmokers is at the...
That's who I'd go see.
Chainsmokers at the Roof Ballroom,
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't you say that? Which the Roof Ballroom is kind of an interesting
I'm in on the
environment
Chainsmokers.
for them.
Look at that.
Jeff front row at Chainsmokers.
You and him. Although
go.
Kevin was worried that there's a 10 o'clock start time. Kevin has an and bedtime. He was like, I don't know if I can make
I'm
it.
earlier than him. What are you talking
Someone
about?
that has been fortunate to see the Chainsmokers and Flo Rida rocking a Jalen Rose
nice.
jersey.
Where were you?
Let's just say the 10 p.m. start time. You think NCAA tournament start times are bad? I think they came on at 2:30.
Where was that at?
I believe it was Revel, which I don't think, is Revel still a thing, or is it Ivy? I haven't hit the downtown club scene lately.
That shocks me to my core, actually. You look like a big, glow stick guy.
Do you think I ever really thrived in the downtown club scene?
can only
back in the
imagine.
day? Or do you think I was sticking out a bit?
Yeah, who's this giant that just walked in?
Man.
This awkward limbed individual.
Why is he telling me to take Molly all of a sudden?
Wait, what? Who's Molly?
Shots of vodka, and you fit right in.
Let's
after
do
that.
Jaeger bomb. Come on. Luke Herringody.
Luke Herrington, yeah.
You got a big week ahead of you.
Rocks. That man rocks.
You got a big week ahead of you.
It's great. Again, tomorrow night up at Hinkle, you'll have the semifinals to the NIT. That's Auburn, Illinois State. It's New Mexico, Tulsa. So that kind of gets things started there. Friday, you'll have the open practices at Lucas Oil. I saw Sam Alexis from IU is playing in that Reese's All-Star game. You have that as well. And I believe there's free parking around Lucas Oil for those open practices. So, again, for those that are in the, okay, what can I do without emptying the pockets? Those are some items you can do. Of course,
Check
Saturday.
out the 3-point shooting and slam dunk over at Hinkle.
Yeah,
too.
that's up at Hinkle on Friday nights. And then Saturday, of course, you got the semifinal games. And Sunday, this is probably one of the more unique aspects to the weekend. 1 o'clock, 4:30, and 8. 1 o'clock is the D2 National Championship game. 4:30 is the D3 National Championship game. 8 o'clock is the NIT Championship game. All of this is on Sunday. So typically Sunday is a quiet day in between the Final Four, in between the semifinals and the championship game on Monday. But that will be over at Gainbridge Fieldhouse all day. And I want to say it's one ticket gets all three of those for you there.
Now that's a
So,
good ticket to get right
yeah,
there.
and I've enjoyed in
I would do
past
that.
years watching like that D2 national title on TV. I mean, it's great competition. I believe both the 1 seeds in the D2 and D3 were upset in the semifinal round, so you'll have teams that obviously have beaten those 1 seeds there. That's a little bit. I think that pretty much covers the gist of it. You've got fan fest events at the convention center. They're doing the dribbling downtown, Mark, aren't they? With kids, you can.
Yeah, we're doing that on Sunday.
You dribble down. Is it Meridian or Penn? One of the two.
I think Meridian this year.
So yeah, you can do that. So again, Sarah Meyer from Sports Court will join us here in about an hour to discuss more of it.
Looking forward to that. Jolie Erickson at the top of the hour and some rules changes coming your way on an NFL broadcast and game this week. We'll tell you what happened down in Phoenix next. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Time for your Indianapolis tournament update, brought to you by Urology of Indiana Vasectomy Centers. The Final Four makes its way to Indianapolis this weekend. UConn, Illinois. That'll be at 6:09 p.m. Saturday, followed at 8:49-ish by Arizona and Michigan. Half of the field, Big Ten teams this year. We'll be telling you all about it in the days and hours leading up to those games, and then we'll be talking about the national championship game all day Monday right here at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. All these updates are brought to you by Urology of Indiana's Vasectomy Centers, board-certified physicians performing safe and effective vasectomies. View our video and schedule your procedure at vasectomyindy.com.
listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Here comes the rain again, Mark Steichen. It opened up down here again.
Like I said, I'm glad I got the golf clubs out yesterday because I don't think I'm doing them the rest of the week.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be fairly rainy for the rest of the week, and it is already started downtown right now. Yesterday, Kevin, the NFL owners approved 5 rules changes for the upcoming 2026 season. Some of it having to do with the potential of replacement referees at the start of the season. Owners have approved the proposal for 2026 only that would allow the NFL officiating department to correct, quote, clear and obvious misses by on-field officials that impact the game in the event of a work stoppage. In other words, to your point earlier, this just has disaster written all over it.
Disaster. Literally sounds like a car trip across the country and I leave Max Bowen without a pull-up on.
Pull-ups are valuable, man. They are the best.
Really valuable.
The owners also passed the proposal to allow league personnel to consult with on-field officials when considering disqualifications for both flagrant fouls and non-football acts without being called onto the field. So they are literally going to take the game out of those replacement refs' hands.
Yeah, I mean, if it's this big of a deal, why not just get the damn deal done? Like, if you feel the need to have to put that sort of implementation in place, or, you know, just in case, then just get it done. I mean, I thought you brought up a good point earlier. Like, you can hardball some stuff, but the integrity of games, the questioning of officiating, that to me is just swallow your pride, NFL.
Especially when you're tied to all these sports books and everything nowadays. Yeah. You can't be having any ticky-tack stuff.
Sure.
Screwing people over.
And yes, that is exactly right, Mark. But again, to me, it's even more than that. It's the fiasco we had, whatever that was. Now, it seems like almost a decade ago at this point, when gambling obviously wasn't as prevalent as it is now.
But they're also telling not only fans, but they're telling the players and coaches and teams as well, yeah, we're not really confident with what's going to be deciding your games right now, so we're going to try to help you out a little bit. I mean, who gets any confidence over how the games are going to be called at all at this point in time?
Right. Now, again, it is April, so, you know, deadline spur action, of course, and all of this, so we'll see.
Also, they've voted to permit the kicking team to declare an onside kick at any time now during the game, Kevin.
Hate that you still have to declare it. I think that's so stupid.
This is the whole point of it.
Kind of like the McAfee surprised onside kicks.
But the problem is the way they do the kickoffs now. To do that, you're going to have to tell people that's what you want to do because it changes the setup of the entire kick.
Or maybe you just dangle one or two up there, and now all of a sudden you've got to make you can see guys sprinting up from the new kickoff line to guard against the onside kick.
Well, they've eliminated the kicking team's incentive to intentionally kick the ball out of bounds when kicking off from the 50 now, too.
You know what? Shout out to the new kickoff rule, though. I think I've enjoyed that play. I think it makes for more strategy. Clearly had impacts on Colts games this season. And, you know, by all accounts, I think it's helped out a little bit in the injury department. But it also, you know, has added something. And, you know, it used to just be touchback, touchback, touchback. And now you've got a little bit more of thinking and strategy and all of that. So, you know, go to the NFL. I think they stole that from, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the XFL or one of those leagues there. So I like it.
Also, in an effort to get kickoff returns back in the game, the NFL has implemented its dynamic kickoff back in 2024. That's what we've been talking about. So I think that one works pretty well. But those are some rules changes to keep an eye on.
Joel Erickson going to join us in 10. I know a conversation that they had out there. He was out there in Phoenix for the league meetings. Did he red-eye it back last night, Mark?
Is he home?
Say that again, sorry.
Did Joel Erickson red-eye it back last
I don't know.
night?
Yeah, he responded relatively quickly, so I don't know if I caught him getting off a flight or when he arrived exactly. But
because I thought he was out there yesterday. But
the Brewers are playing. He had to get home in time to watch the Brewers, for God's sake.
Well, yeah. Let's be honest. He's dialing up the Wi-Fi on the old flight to watch that. They did mention in regards to the departure of Michael Pittman Jr., you know, again, since day one, I always felt like the Colts would lose once they lost Pittman, once they traded him, I didn't think they would invest notably at wideout. I think they viewed it more as we can make up for this in numbers. They did mention Josh Downs playing a little bit more as an outside wideout. You know, Ballard, you know, even dropped a line of kind of instinctually feels like there's some T.Y. Hilton to his game. That is uber high praise for Josh Downs. I think Downs a really quality player. That I think is taking it maybe to a step that I'm not ready to say just yet. But, again, whether it's a little bit more for Downs, obviously a little bit more for Pierce, you got to think Tyler Warren doesn't hit as big of a rookie wall, and I think the quarterback injury played into it as he did late last season. Ashton Doolin sprinkled in there. Again, Nick Westbrook-Akine, the former IU wideout, was signed in free agency. To me, he's a poor man's Michael Pittman Jr. Stylistically, I think they play the game in a little bit of a similar way. I think that's the route you'll see for the Colts. Maybe they draft one kind of 4th or 5th round. I don't see like a 2nd round pick going to wideout. People mention, hey, Elijah Surratt in round 2. First off, I think that's a little early for Surratt. Secondly, I don't think that's the route they'll go, but it was interesting to hear down, body type wise, he's not an outside wideout at all.
No, he's a bigger, stronger possession type guy. You hope that he's a guy who can get you.
He's a smaller slot guy, is what he is. He's not.
I thought he's like 6'3". Isn't he 6'2", 6'3"?
Josh Downs?
No, I thought you were talking about Westbrook-Akine.
Oh, no. Yes.
Sorry.
Westbrook-Akine, again, he's got, a poor man's Pittman game to him, but it sounds like that replacement's going to be more in sheer numbers than it is 1v1.
Yeah. We'll talk more about the Colts with Joel A. Erickson coming up in just a moment here. Also, a reminder, slots are filling up. Get in on it this week while you can because it's going to get tougher and tougher. Fan Invitational 2026 golf outing presented by Franciscan Health is fast approaching. We're in April now. I don't know if you knew this, Kevin. It's April 1st today. It's April 1st.
Trust me, I got my head on a swivel.
And this is for real. April 30th, Legends Golf Club, presented by Franciscan Health. We're all going to be down there. Mark, you may actually play this year, right?
I don't know. I might bring the clubs or do the driving range or something. I might get out there. We'll see.
Well, after yesterday, Mark,
you're ready to go.
Player there.
Boy, they were a couple went straight, and a lot of them went every direction.
How many strokes you giving Kevin
on the golf course?
Yeah.
I don't think he needs any. He could probably just. I don't. 40.
I'm a little rattled by how many strokes you're giving Kevin, and Mark's response was on the golf course.
I was trying to slide that through.
I go stand out in the rain here for 5 minutes during the break.
Legal training at 3 p.m. today, Mark.
I'll get right on that. Yeah. It's on my calendar.
Franklin, Indiana, Legends Golf Club, April 30th. We're all going to be there. It's going to be fun. Matt Taylor will be starting things off on every time you come through hole 1. He'll be announcing who's out there. That's going to be a good time. Eddie White's going to be out there. He's always a lot of fun to be around. Looks like we're going to have some former Major League Baseball players that have already signed up to get out there. I'm a little hesitant to use their names without talking to them, but I can tell you that there are going to be people out there, and who knows who else is going to show up for people that you listen to and hear on the station every single day. It's going to be a lot of fun. Got the hole-in-one contest, longest drives, and for closest to the pin, Kevin, how about a set of Mizuno golf clubs?
Let's go. Thank you to Kim Henderson, the Mizuno rep here in Indiana. I think you will enjoy those very much. Mizuno, definitely a big PGA Tour pro golfer brand.
And if that's not enough, free cancer screenings available on site, courtesy of Franciscan Health Cancer Center. So you can bet on one-of-a-kind experiences after the tournament, sports memorabilia, and a lot more at the silent auction. It's just going to be a lot of fun. Hang out with us all day long. Take the day off work. April 30th down in Franklin, 1075thefan.com. 1075thefan.com. Mark, I've got one other piece of business to take care of right here, right now. We've been talking about the NCAA slam dunk and three-point contest that's coming up, right?
Uh-huh.
How about this? Text 239-1070 right now, the word dunk. Text the word dunk, and you are there. How about that?
Well, first person that does it goes.
Oh, you're saying the first person?
Well, how many tickets are we giving away?
Well, by the end of the day, we'll have given away 4 pairs of tickets.
Okay.
All right.
So 1 pair now?
So just do the word dunk, and then we'll have a drawing from all the people that enter. That's what
Gotcha.
we're gonna do.
Okay.
All right. It's the State Farm College Slam Dunk and Three-Point Contest at Hinkle Fieldhouse, Friday, April 3rd. Text us the word dunk, D-U-N-K. And by the end of the day, we'll notify everybody who's won. How about that?
I like it.
All right. Coming up in a moment, Joel A. Erickson. He's been at the NFL league meetings down in Phoenix. What did he learn? What does he know about the Colts that he didn't know last week at this time? We'll find out next. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
By the way, I was checking out Indiana Pacers social media during the break, Kevin Bowen. Happy birthday to Mark Jackson today.
Oh, let's give a little Mark Jackson shimmy. Let's go.
Yeah. Fun to watch him play Pacers basketball
I
for a
always
long
think
time.
I was Mark Jackson in the driveway, backing down my neighbor, getting him in the low post. Take that, Ryan Swanson.
There you go. We're going to switch from that to the National Football League. They've been holding league meetings down in Phoenix, Arizona all week long. Our next guest was there documenting those things. He is Joel A. Erickson of the Indy Star, and he joins us on the Payless Liquors hotline this morning. Joel, we were curious. Have you red-eyed back, or are you still in Phoenix this morning?
I took the last Southwest flight out. I got back in around two and change. We'll call it that. I got back to the house around 2 and change last night.
And you're here this
Joel,
morning.
go
Thank
back
you.
to sleep, man. That's the nicest thing you've ever done.
Well, I had to be up to drop the kid off anyway, so
Go back home and take a nap. Mark
preschool anyway.
Dykton certainly would be asleep right now.
He is.
No, I am. Yeah, I was going to say, you just woke me up. I assumed Joel had to get back because the Brewers were playing, but
Yeah.
he must have been listening to that on the plane.
Yeah.
Mark, did you see what CB Buckner did last night?
I did not. What did I miss?
Great.
Let him know, Joel.
He called out, or he said that a Brewers runner didn't touch the base, didn't touch first base. Like, the replay immediately shows like his whole foot is on the base, and then CB's not even looking at the runner. Like, he's looking at the ball bouncing away from first base. He's not, and he made the call anyway. And Jeff Levering, who does Brewers games up there, was great because his line was, "Well, I'm certainly excited to see that he's going to be on the plate tomorrow."
I have to say, I know it's very early season baseball talk. I love the ABS system and just calling these umpires out for horrific calls in front of everybody, and the crowd just erupting every time they're incorrect.
Yeah, the catchers, Salvador Perez embarrassing Doug Eddings by getting every low one right was really fun. In addition to that Red Sox game where CB looked awful.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for that, Phil.
All right, out of the weeds for umpiring in Major League Baseball and into the National Football League. What'd you learn, Joel? What'd you come away with?
I think the biggest thing was just that, the Colts still have that cap space that they cleared by the way they structured Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce's contract. But I don't know that there's going to be necessarily some big move that eats into a big chunk of that because, Kevin O'Connell was talking as if, and, guys can say anything, and this is usually what they say is they expect him to be on our team. But he said they expect Jonathan Grenard to be on the team. Well, he was there, and just the way the Colts were talking, it sounded like they were kind of preparing us to move forward. So I don't know that there's some other big move coming unless something presents itself.
So Joel A. Erickson from the Star with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Absolutely psychotic behavior by him to wake up with us, but we appreciate it. It almost seems like they believed they were going to get Trey Hendrickson, and then once that did not happen and the Max Crosby chaos led to Baltimore getting him, then it was like, all right, we're going to opt for quantity over high-end quality. Do I have that right?
Yeah, I think so. They talked a little bit about, we have to make, financial decisions but again, the thing about that is the way they structured those contracts, there's still $26 million in cap space, and neither Jones nor Pierce has a cap hit that big. So there's obviously that part of it. I know they have to manage it or whatever, but I'm you guys clearly cleared that space for a reason. I asked directly about Hendrickson. That Chris Ballard obviously didn't want to get into the details of it, but he did say, we looked at some guys and it just decided to go with these depth pieces. They've been okay on these over the years. We're pretty good on these over the years. Where you get some, they get some, Neville Gallimore last year is a good example of a guy who was here on a minimum deal and played way over that. So they've done okay with that. But I think the biggest thing for me is just how does the defense get to the next level without that edge rusher? The problem is outside of Hendrickson, I know there were other guys on the market, but kind of all of them, to me, even Hendrickson, really, like, there was a chance that he wasn't going to elevate the pass rush to what it needs to be.
I think given that, Joel, to me, Daniel Jones, obviously the quarterback, is the most important player on the football team, and him, playing, a good level of ball. I would say the second most important Colt this season, ascending, playing elite football, however you want to describe it. You can make a case for a lot of names. I think it's Latu. I just think, given how the offseason has played out, I think Latu over Sauce Gardner, over Jonathan Taylor, over Bernard Ryman, Alec Pierce, et cetera, et cetera. I think he's the second most important Colt this season.
Yeah, I agree with that. They've spent so much time trying to find that guy. Chris Ballard said again, they feel like he was close, that the difference between an 8.5 sack guy and a 14 sack guy is making some of those plays at the end. I think the thing that needs to happen with Latu, and we can get in the weeds with next gen stats, but just to kind of boil it down to what matters most is he's got to win quicker. He has to win faster in the down, and really, instead of, you look at his numbers, a lot of his pressures and stuff were late in the down. He needs to win earlier and force the quarterback to start moving. Because when you have somebody that can do that, can force the quarterback to move early, then all these other guys, Ballard brought up, well, when we broke the sack record, we didn't really have like the 20 sack guy. That's true, but they had guys who would make the quarterback move. And then some of these other guys who are more rotational, all-around types get sacks because they're, disengaging and making plays. You have to have the guy who's forcing someone to move out of the pocket. And, with Buckner coming back off a neck injury, it's always been Buckner before. They need Lotto to turn into that guy.
Joel Erickson, Indy Star, joining us on the Payless Liquors hotline, fresh off the NFL league meetings down in Phoenix. Are we set up for a full 5-alarm fire with officiating at the beginning of the year this year? Because it sure feels like it.
Yeah, and that was kind of bubbling like under the surface of it. I mean, Goodell was asked about it yesterday in the press conference, and he kind of did, the executive thing where you kind of downplay it. But yeah, I think just in talking to people, outside of the press conference setting, because I think people probably saw that there was a memo that was apparently sent out that said, hey, teams aren't supposed to talk about this on the record. But in talking to people around the league outside of the press conference setting, there was a definite apprehension about what's going on with the refereeing situation. Now, I think that coaches probably like the idea of New York being able to just call in and correct, like a little bit expanded replay assist. But yeah, there was definite an apprehension about the refereeing and what could happen, because it sounds like those two sides are still very far apart.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out when it's all said and done. Do you expect any kind of real move-the-needle transaction for the Colts between now and draft day?
For that to happen, I think that the biggest thing is that there's got to be something shaken loose somewhere else, or somebody drafts somebody that they weren't expecting to get. There's a contract dispute. It seems like these guys aren't available, and then last year by training camp, Micah Parsons is available. I'm not saying the Colts can get Micah Parsons and have a first-round pick, but sometimes situations elsewhere go south, and a guy ends up available that you didn't think was available. And I think that's the thing that they've got to kind of hope for now, because it's April and their teams feel like their rosters are set. Now there's going to be changes to that, but the Colts have to hope it's at a spot that they need, which is, like we discussed earlier, it's edge rusher.
Joel Erickson with us from the Indianapolis Star. Great coverage out at the league's owners meetings. You can find his work over on IndyStar.com. Let's say it's May 20th, Joel. Let's say I throw out the number of 25%. Over or under 25% chance Anthony Richardson is a Colt on May 20th?
I think under. I just think, there clearly hasn't been much of a market for him. I think he'd be traded already if that was the case. But, there's a couple of player trades every year in the draft, especially that third day, I just don't think, with him requesting the trade, with Jones being in place, Richardson obviously wants to see like a clear path to starting. I just think there's no way that he ends up back here. Chris Ballard said, maybe there is a scenario where he's back, and then they have a decision to make between him and Riley Leonard. But everything points to the Colts finding a way to move him, at some point here. And it probably won't be for very much return, which, I know he was the number 4 pick, but also he's got a ton of injury history. There's probably some concerns about the eye. But yeah, I think he just gets moved because it's not the situation he seems to want anymore.
Joel, I rely on you for a lot. One of the things I rely on you for is for listening comprehension. So if you don't mind, Mark Dykton's going to play this clip, and I believe this was Carlie Gordon out there at the league meetings. This is with, I think it was J.J. Stankovitz and the Colts crew, and the question wasn't necessarily going back to when we first chatted with Carlie last May of, hey, do you believe head coaches and GMs should be tied at the hip? But kind of organically, she I think kind of brings that up. And I ask this in all seriousness. I'm curious what you make of this answer in regards to how you view GM and head coach in Carlie Gordon's eyes. Go ahead and play this, Mark.
With Chris and Shane, obviously, I think one of the biggest pieces I always say is, we did a regression analysis a long time ago about, what is sort of I don't want to call it the kiss of death for where a general manager and a head coach don't succeed. And one of the things that we found is when you simultaneously hire them, and when you think about it, it makes total sense. Mm-hmm. So imagine hiring one person that has to do this, another person, and you just are like, I hope you get along, versus I think that, Chris, with his tenure with us, I think we were able to go out when we found Shane and really make sure that we had someone that complemented Chris's style. And I think they have a great relationship. I love working with them.
What do you make of that answer in regards to head coach GM being tied at the hip, whether you want to view it in the Ballard Steichen light or you want to view it in whatever the next era of the Colts looks like?
My first thought there was that, she has and this is going to sound like oversimplification, but she's got a point. And I think with Ursay Gordon, I think if you listen to the Colts, but really if you listen to her talk, she's willing to kind of ask, why do you think this sort of basic tenet is true? I have been somebody who said, every time you fire the GM without firing the coach, you're just you're just waiting to fire the coach. And I think Mike Vrabel is the best example where, they got rid of John Robinson and everyone was like, well, that's Vrabel's team. It's clearly Vrabel's team. He won the power struggle and then he was gone. But there is some sense to that. Now, I know that one thing though is that sometimes those coach GM hires, when they're made together, those are guys who've known each other throughout the league from other places. And I think Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles had a fairly good relationship, but going into it, but to her point, Eberflus isn't there anymore. Poles still is. So I think she is sort of very willing to think outside of the conventional box. And that answer to me kind of gives what I think you're picking up on, which is she might be willing to do one and not the other, because I just don't think she's the type to get boxed into, well, this is what everybody says. That's just not the way she really ever thinks or presents herself in interviews.
So I think to sum it all up, would you say it's a bit you're committing too much if you believe right now that Ballard and Steichen are tied at the hip? And I'm speaking to fans there.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's not just this answer. I mean, you know this as well as I do, but I believe you asked her about it in one of her press conferences, and she kind of held off on saying yes. She's always said that the relationship matters, but I don't think she's ever expressed that as a belief. And so now with it happening a couple times and her talking about it a couple times, that's one of those things that I've got marked, I've kind of got noted in my head for later on is she might not think that you have to have them tied together the same way the other teams do.
Joel, thanks for being here as always. Go get some sleep.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm taking a nap.
Joel, you're a legend. Thank you, sir.
By the way, you probably already know it, but it's 1:40 this afternoon, first pitch for the Brewers and Rays.
Oh, well, then he's got to take a nap. Late morning nap right before that.
That's how that works.
This is a perfect weather to take a nap. This is perfect nap weather.
Yeah, it really is.
I might go home and take a nap after the show.
Really is.
Call it
You
good.
might put me in REM here, Mark.
Mark's been in REM for half of the show today.
Yep, pretty much.
He was in REM last week when he drafted JT Toppin.
You know it.
How are the standings looking going into the Final Four, by the way?
Wait, I need to add it up, but I think you and James are on a collision course. I want to say James maybe has one extra player than you. You have the lead, I think, right now, Jeff, but I think James has one extra player.
Does he have Wagler?
I think he's got Wagler, if I'm not mistaken. He's got one of the Arizona guys.
I know I've got Burries from Arizona.
Yeah, I think he's got Koa Pete maybe from Arizona as well.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
I think I've also got one from Michigan.
Yeah, do you have Yaxel?
Yep, I've got Yaxel.
Yeah. Well, maybe you're the one that has the extra guy, and maybe James has the lead right now. So I need to double check all that.
Kevin and I are bringing up the rear, though.
Oh, we are.
LeBaron Philon did decent work for me.
Yeah, you had good burst of quality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and my injury karma hit my team. Joshua Jefferson got hurt 2 minutes into the tournament.
Ooh, hate when that happens, huh? At least your guy made it to the tournament.
Well, yeah. Although I think Mark might have beat me.
Yeah, I got Yaxel. I've got Braden Berries. That's what it looks like right now. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's check it down, Mark.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, the National Football League concluding its league meetings in Phoenix, Arizona this week, and there's been a lot of talk about what to do with the officiating if indeed the league and the officials union can't come to a labor agreement. They're talking about having replacement refs and the possibility of several calls perhaps being made from league offices in New York during games. Kevin, what could possibly go wrong?
It sounds like an epic insert Dan Hurley expletive, Mrs. Hurley expletive disaster. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Following up on what you were just talking to Joel Erickson about, what came out of these meetings from the Colts' perspective?
Well, again, I think maybe just some kind of confirmation on the offseason plan there. But, I also think there's some interesting things we've hit on over the last couple of days. I'm looking forward to having James back tomorrow to kind of touch on a little bit more of what that is. We didn't really get into the Josh Downs thing there with Joel. Do they really feel like he can be an outside, wideout for this team? So James Boyd will be back tomorrow. He took the softer flight, I guess, is what we're seeing here, right?
That's what it sounds like. Not a team player here.
Huh. Wow. Shot fired on April 1st.
All right, Joel's rolling in at 2 a.m, dropping the kids off in the drop-off line.
Surprised the boss man, Jeff, didn't force James to get here 7 a.m. sharp.
Jeff's pulling double duty, 2 shows in the span of 18 hours.
Oh, I forgot, Jeff, you did.
Everybody's taking their time off while they can.
See?
That's how that works.
Team player, James. Come on now.
I'll be
get one last gorgeous breakfast at the resort he's in. One last mani-pedi.
Sit next to Serena Williams.
Mm-hmm.
You got pulp in your orange juice, Miss Williams?
Yeah.
Yes. Pacers play in Chicago tonight. You'll listen to it here on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. 7:30 is when our pregame coverage starts with Pat Boylan and, of course, the great Mark Boyle. And Eddie will have the play-by-play beginning at 8 p.m. tonight. Looking forward to that. Some basketball news. They do this every year at the Final Four. They haven't made the official announcement yet, but there's been leaks. And we know that several inductees to the upcoming Basketball Hall of Fame class for 2026 will be Amare Stoudemire, Doc Rivers, Candace Parker, Elena Deladonna, and Mark Few, the head coach from Gonzaga. Looks like he's going to join them there. This is Matt Norlander from CBSSports.com reporting this.
Is Tommy Lloyd going to North Carolina?
North Carolina hasn't made a move yet. What's that tell you, Mark Dykton?
Don't know.
I mean, you got North Carolina, and they've been sitting on a vacancy for the head basketball coach for over a week and a half now.
Again, portal doesn't open up till Tuesday. So, I don't think urgency maybe needs to be absurdly high, but yeah, the longer this goes, the Tommy Lloyd's having to field more questions about it this week.
Well, we'll see what happens. Major League Baseball last night. Pittsburgh Pirates got a pair of home runs from O'Neill Cruz to beat the Reds 8-3 out at Great American Ballpark. St. Louis shut out the Mets 3-0. It was the White Sox trailing and losing to the Miami Marlins 9-2. The Angels beat the Cubs 2-0 last night. Jose Soriano, 6 innings of shutout baseball. Mark, did you watch any of that game?
Not much.
No?
Not much. Trying to teach the kids golf. Trying to.
There you go. Shohei Ohtani doing his thing again on the mound. 6 innings of shutout baseball, allowed just 1 hit as the Dodgers beat the Guardians by a score of 4-1. He is, to me, in baseball, kind of what Jordan used to be in basketball. In other words, if I see the Dodgers are on anywhere on TV and I know he's playing and coming up to the plate or certainly pitching, I'll tune in, Mark.
Yeah,
he can't miss TV.
We were at Epcot at Disney World, and they have the Japan section of the Around the World, and we went in the Japan store. They had Shohei Ohtani gear everywhere, and my God, was it expensive. I'm like, this guy is pulling in, $60 for a reusable bag with his name and face on it.
Mark, did you say you were out in Plainfield golfing yesterday?
Uh-huh. Oak Tree.
Somebody was saying that the old Hankey crew that have done all the big old country clubs up in Hamilton County, that they're doing something out there in Plainfield.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd be intrigued to see if they have one of their incredibly successful country clubs all of a sudden call Plainfield home. Will it have any public influence on it? That could be interesting.
Some high school basketball news. The junior all-star core team of 6 players has been announced for the team that will play not only the seniors for Indiana All-Stars, but also the Kentucky All-Stars. The juniors core squad, headed by Cooper Zachary of Fishers, Max Weiss, who I just watched play a tremendous game in the state championship game from Mount Vernon, Jahari Miller from Pike, Isaiah Hill from Pike, Jason Gardner Jr. from Fishers as well, and Harper Baker Lands from Plainfield. They just... Every year, the talent just keeps coming in Indiana, doesn't it?
We will have the father of Jason Gardner Jr. join the show tomorrow. Jason Gardner, in these parts, probably needs no introduction. Obviously, one of the more iconic IHSA moments there, and his game-winning shot, or I should say overtime forcing shot against Bloomington South. Back in the day, back in the Hinkle, I think it was Hinkle semi-state, and then an unbelievable career at Arizona. He is the director of player relations for Tommy Lloyd out there at the university, where I think he is still the all-time leader in, I believe, minutes played, and was an All-American for them. So he's going to join us coming up. Mark, you said 9:30 tomorrow for Jason Gardner. Is that right?
Yep, Pat 40 at 9 o'clock, too.
Little Final Four flavor coming up tomorrow.
All right, we'll look forward to that. Also, more high school basketball. 16 of the best teams in the nation, none of them from Indiana, but they'll be gathering for the Chipotle National High School Tournament at Hamilton Southeastern High School this weekend. It starts tonight. Again, they take 16 teams from the USA Today top 25, put them all together. I think this is the 3rd year in a row now that they've done it here in Indiana, but no Indiana teams this year. There should be always one team from the host state, don't you think?
Yeah, Mount Vernon would dust all of them.
Crown Point wouldn't be too bad either one of those 2 teams.
Sure.
Yeah, Mount Vernon
Take
was
that, prep
terrific.
schools.
All right. Anything else you guys want to throw in before we head to break and start talking about what's going to be happening here all weekend for the Final Four celebration?
Again, good on Tiger Woods for getting help, because he needs it and does not need to be worried about golf right now. So will not be at the Masters in any capacity. His statement yesterday just basically all rooted in the help that he needs and nothing about golf, which I think is vitally important for him right now. So good on Tiger and his team and his camp for trying to help him.
All right, that's what's happening in the world of sports right here, right now. We will get a look at everything you need to know about all the things taking place in and around Indianapolis and centered around the Final Four. Coming your way next on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
I like you, I do. I wanna be a friend, go shopping in a Benz. I like you, I do.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
107.5 The Fan. Going to be a safe space for April Fool's Day today, Mark. You're sure?
We got 30 minutes left. We've gone strong so far.
You haven't been duped by anything. Have you seen anything major out there, Kevin?
Knock on wood, so far, nothing yet.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that.
My head is on a swivel.
Yeah. The world descends upon Indianapolis over the next several days. Obviously, the Final Four taking place Saturday, Sunday. There's going to be lots of events. Monday, those are all games, on-court events. If you start including Division II, Division III, and things of that nature, NIT, and, of course, semifinals Saturday night. The championship game is Monday night, and all kinds of things happening in and around those events. And here to tell us a little bit more about that, we welcome in Indy Sports Corps Sarah Meyer to the Fan Morning Show on the Payless Liquors Hotline. Good morning, Sarah. Nothing going on in your world this week, right?
No, pretty slow around here.
Man, oh man. Do you have enough hours in the day this week, honestly?
Oh my God, it's wild. But you know what? It's so exciting. I mean, when you think about that, we haven't had a full fan men's Final Four since 2015. We are just so pumped to be able to do this again.
Sarah, always great to hear your voice, and thank you for everything, frankly, you do for the city of Indianapolis and for hopping on with us in what is undoubtedly a busy week. Okay, let's start here. It's honestly taking place, I think, just south of us here at whatever we are, 10th and Meridian. But the concerts, I know a lot of people have been driving downtown and like, wait, what is that? Is that a Ferris wheel? What's going on just south of us here, American Legion Mall?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, it's funny because, since we haven't hosted a full fan one in a while, people don't know what to expect. It's been so long. So yeah, that Music Fest is one of the major parts of Final Four now. So it is free too. I think that's what's hilarious is people see this lineup of incredible music acts and it is all free. So they're getting it all set up. Yes, you saw the Ferris wheel. There is a massive stage set up. Appreciate everyone's patience with the road closures, but because of the significant setup, that's what had to happen. But Friday night is 21 Pilots. Saturday is Russell Dickerson and Zach Brown Band, and Sunday is Megan Maroney and Post Malone. So you hear that lineup, and there's openers for that too, mind you. It's just pretty wild what the sponsors put into everything that goes into this Music Fest. So gates will open at 10 a.m. They're telling people if you want to start lining up, because it is free, and people are going to want to get their spaces, maybe start at 7 a.m., but it's going to be really awesome. And again, all free to attend.
Okay, let's stick with that free theme for just a second here. Friday, we have the open practices, I know, over at Lucas Oil. And I thought I saw you mention that the parking around Lucas Oil is free for that event. A, is that correct? And then B, when we say the word free, that obviously attracts a lot of people. Anything else I'm missing the rest of this weekend that would fall into that category?
Yeah, so parking is free in the lot in Lucas Oil Stadium, so there will be signage up and everything, but that makes it so much easier for people, especially families, to come downtown. And Final Four Friday is so awesome. Reese's helps put that on, and it's the open practices for all four teams. So we're already hearing some rumors that Illinois is coming strong with their fans to come for Friday. I know we'll have some Indiana people with Braylon Mullins, so we're really excited about that. But just a great way to get inside the stadium if you don't have tickets for the actual game, see everything up close, free to get in, free to park. And then while you're down here, you can walk right to the Fan Fest, which is free for kids 12 and under, for military, if you have a Final Four ticket. So that's pretty awesome. And it's a massive setup, you guys. We've seen other Fan Fests, but for Final Four, these sponsors go all out. They give away a ton of free stuff. They have a lot of athlete and celebrity appearances. And then you walk outside and Georgia Street tip-off tailgate completely free. So I don't know if you've seen that lately because, it's been under construction with the Signia and everything, but it is going to be the home of tip-off tailgate. So definitely go out there too. Again, that is free. And so you can really make a whole day of it on Friday, even before the games start.
Sarah, there's going to be a lot of traffic flow changes over the weekend. What's the best place people can go to? Where do they go find out about what's going to be open, what's going to be closed, what's the best way to get downtown, what's the best way to stay there and escape it when you're done, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I have been telling people download that Final Four app and turn notifications on, because not only does it have maps in there, it has all of the know before you go info, but it'll notify you if we have any, weather implications, or we have to hold gates at something or what have you. So I think that's always the best thing to do. If you're not an app person, it's ncaa.com/men's Final Four. That has all the information there. Personally, what I would tell you is there are so many meters around, so download that Park Mobile app, and you can actually reserve spots on that app. Parking is free on Sundays at meters too. So that's also sometimes people don't understand that. So anytime you're parking at a meter, and I timed it, you guys, I walked from Music Fest down to Gamebridge Fieldhouse, and it took me 12 minutes, and I even made a couple stops on the way. So, the point is, if you're going to park at a garage or a meter and you might park a little further out, the walk is just not that bad. So there's all these places to find it. And like I said, the app or the website, ncaa.com/men's Final Four, is super helpful.
Look at that. Elite speedwalker add to the LinkedIn profile here.
Time to
Sarah Meyer.
to stop and have lunch in her 12 minutes.
Usain Bolt of walking here. Chief of Staff and Strategy over at the Indiana Sports Corp. She's a great Sarah Meyer. She's with us here on the Payless Liquors Hotline. And reminder for Sunday, those free meters. Again, that's when you've got the D2, D3, NIT championship games, all of those over at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. Okay, Sarah, anytime we have someone like you on, I think back to our conversation with Chris Gall from Visit Indy at the Combine. We've certainly had your boss, Patrick Tulte, on prior. I always want to ask the question of, your job is to bring these incredible events to our city, our state. If I said bucket list item, the one sporting event we have yet to host that you would want to see the city of Indianapolis host, you would say what?
Well, this shouldn't surprise you because I'm working very hard on it right now, but the NFL draft.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny is it's not even a competition, you guys, but it is something that has been on my bucket list. I went to the draft when I saw the draft on TV in 2019 in Nashville. I see these things, you guys, in other cities, and it just lights a fire in my competitive self, and I just want to do it bigger and better. And I think this city is so well set up for an NFL draft. The experience, the fan experiences, the compactness of the city, it's just, it's prime for it. So we are actually, we use these events to help host people and give them an idea of what we're capable of. So we will be hosting people from the NFL. USA Swimming is coming in. Obviously, we won the trials for 2028, but we always want to, make sure they're thinking creatively, and we're collaborating together on what we can do with an event. So the NFL draft, that's mine. And then I would also love maybe in 2032 doing multiple Olympic trials. So I would love to do swimming, gymnastics, and track and field.
Can I just say one of the coolest sporting events, and I've been doing this a long time, Sarah, one of the coolest sporting events I have ever attended and been to, and I've been to all of them, literally, is that indoor pool that you guys built at Lucas Oil Stadium. That was just visually stunning. The large video screen that you had when the athletes were announced and came into the races. I had more fun, maybe because it's just different and new and unique, but man, that was cool. Can we do that again?
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. What's crazy is we were just on a call with them yesterday talking about it. So yeah, we're doing it again, June of 2028. So excited for that to happen. Cause thank you for saying all that. I'm so glad you were able to experience it. But a lot of people either with summer breaks or things like that may have missed it. And I think people are excited to see it again, have the chance to be here. It's wild how many swim clubs there are around the country that traveled in for it. So I think another great way to show off Indianapolis. And the whole theme was Indy to Paris last time. Now we're thinking Indy to LA. So we're starting to think about what we want to do with our downtown to really promote that whole theme. So we're excited that they trusted us to do that again. And it's wild what we can do with that stadium. We'll do the swim trials in there in June, but 2 months before we'll host the women's Final Four, and that's in Lucas Oil Stadium. That'll be the first time they've done that in a football stadium. So just really excited about being able to use that.
Sarah, just a couple minutes left, and we obviously appreciate your time. Going back to the draft conversation, when we had Chris Gall on at the Combine, if I remember correctly, I think he was en route to a meeting about the NFL draft with, I assume, members of the league. Have you gotten any feeling? Like, what's that? I think we know how the Super Bowl process works. You bid, and then obviously the owners decide on that. Can you explain a little bit, A, how the draft process works, and B, if you have an inkling on how you feel Indy's positioned?
Yeah, it's funny because the bid process is different for we call them rights holders to the NCAA, NFL, USA Swimming. They all have a different bid process, but the NFL actually has to invite you to bid. So they technically haven't invited us yet. That's how much work we're putting into even just an invitation. That tour that Chris must have talked to you right before he met us all up and did that tour with the NFL. It went phenomenally. We felt really positive. For them to accept our invite to come back to see Music Fest at American Legion Mall, I think that was a great sign. And then we did get an invite to go to Pittsburgh and see the draft this year. So those are all good signs. We have not gotten a firm anything, but that's what we have to do in Indy. We just have to always put our best foot forward. And I'm excited to see what Pittsburgh does, but I'm even more excited to hopefully get that invitation to bid very soon here.
Okay, last one. Investigative reporter Mark Dykton, our excellent producer. He is viewing the Ferris wheel. Mark, you believe that's a Children's Museum Ferris wheel?
I just want to know if it is. It looks like similar.
Is it, Sarah?
Oh, is it the same one?
Yes.
No, it's a different one.
Okay.
Look at that, Mark. We've got multiple Ferris wheels in this city.
Well, because the Children's Museum one is gone, and then this one's here. So I'm like, did they just move it down the road a little bit? Wasn't sure.
You can't take Rex's Ferris wheel away, Mark. Come on now.
Glad we got to the bottom of that.
What do you do with the Ferris wheel after this is done?
It is really with the production company that the NCAA uses for the Music Fest. So I'm assuming they use it for other events. But, I'm not in the Ferris wheel business, but I'm sure glad that there's one downtown.
Hey, you do this job long enough, you'll be in everybody's business, Sarah. That's how that works.
Honestly, if we need to raise money, just put it in somebody's backyard. They can bid on it. So,
Mark, you got room?
Exactly.
Maybe.
All right. Sarah, as always, thank you so much. We appreciate your time and all the info. And, man, you guys do a great job over there. We talk about this all the time. I do. I moved here 13 years ago, and as I said, I've been to almost every major sporting event in the world, and this is the place to be. It just is.
Well,
it's the place to be.
Thank you, guys. And I think what we all value, too, is great storytelling, and you guys do that every single day. So I just want to thank you because that's how we continue to be a sports city right here.
Sarah, I lied. Last one. How many volunteers do we have for the Final Four? Because I know that's such an under-the-radar, probably we don't talk about it enough.
I think it's between 2,000 and 2,500. It's wild, you guys, just how many people put in multiple hours of their own time just to show up. So, yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
Have a great day. I know you got lots to do, so we'll let you go.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks. Sarah Meyer, Indy Sports Corps.
I mean, think about that last part right there. 2,000 to 2,500 volunteers.
That's part of what makes this so great, though.
This doesn't happen without that. So
unbelievable.
Yeah,
people.
She's a great ambassador to our city. Patrick Talty, Sports Corps, Chris Gall. I mean, we the list can go on and on.
Yeah. All right, we will wrap up this April 1st edition of the Fan Morning Show, and I promise no April Fool's jokes today. Not after what we got from legal yesterday, Mark. Did you read that thing?
I saw it, sure. Glanced and deleted.
Not the first time legal's contacted Mark.
He just avoids anything that's got legal on it. He just avoids
No, I don't want to get fished anymore. Every time I open an email, I get fished and I have to do training for that.
It's the Fan Morning Show. We'll continue next. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Wrapping up the April Fool's edition of the Fan Morning Show, completely free of any kind of scam or pull the wool over your eyes nonsense today, Mark Dykton. After you read through detail by detail the letter warning us all not to do that from legal yesterday.
You know it. You're welcome.
Gotta love it. Chris wants to know on the fan text line 239-1070, we were talking about the potential of having the NFL draft here when we were talking just a moment ago. And how about NFL draft utilizing the Speedway? I've heard that before. That might be a fun place to have it.
Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we had Chris Gall on, I guess that was a month and a half ago. Jeff, I think you might have been out. I don't think he mentioned the Speedway as one of the sites. I thought he said to me American Legion Mall right here.
Uh-huh.
I think he said an area around Lucas Oil, and there might have been White River.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he mentioned the Speedway, because I do think a lot of people have brought that up, and obviously from a standpoint, it kind of speaks for itself, and late April would be the perfect lead into May, but I don't know. I am all for our city getting any event. I mean, without these events, frankly, I probably don't have a job. But if I'm going to be totally honest, the NFL draft has always been a little bit like, really? I mean, I don't know. To me, it's a little different when you're getting an actual, boom, sporting event. These people are qualifying for the Olympics. These people are about to win a national championship in basketball. You know, you're going to win the Indy 500. I guess you're getting a job in the NFL draft, but reading off names for the draft, if I'm going to rank them, probably not that high on my old sporting list, bucket list.
Some advice for you, Mark?
Am I wrong on that? Do you guys
No.
do you guys care more about the draft than I do? Like attending?
No,
No.
I don't.
Because I feel like it's like the Macy's Day Parade. You go there and when you watch it on TV, you get all the analysis and the highlights and everything like that. And then when you're in person, there's none of that. It's just you watch the player get selected, walk out, and then that's it.
Yeah, I think it would be fairly boring.
And after day one, Mark, there's no players, right?
Right.
I mean, it's just then you have former players, et cetera. So,
yeah.
Again, I am all for our city trying to do anything and everything to continue to make this such a great sports capital.
And that's when you have a great wide receiver from the Colts disparaging an entire city of Nashville, which I'm okay with.
It's fine too. Nashville, I do like that town though.
And you know what? Sarah Meyer chimed in here. She goes, by the way, going back to my previous comment almost 2 years ago, we had her on 2 years ago to talk about the swim trials. She goes, radio is definitely not dead, as evidenced by all the text I'm getting after.
Look at that.
There you go.
Look at that, Sarah.
Can you send that to our sales team? They'd
Sarah,
love to have that.
we're going to
They're
need
doing
you.
a great job.
Once we get through the Final Four, we'll need you to speak to some of our sales associates.
No, they're doing great. Our salespeople have been fantastic. They're doing a great job. By the way, Bill wants to tell you, Mark, whoa, let's be careful saying fish so many times so fast. Otherwise, legal will be involved.
I know. Fishing. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Mark, what have you learned on the show today?
Well, that apparently we're doing pretty good radio-wise because Sarah Meyer's phone is blowing up because of that interview, so that's good to see. But no, I told her off air, bringing the girls to the dribble event over by Carroll Stadium to Victory Field on Sunday, so that should be a good time. We did it for the WNBL All-Star
cool.
game. That was a great time. So they get a little swag, get a full-size basketball and a T-shirt, so they're excited to do it again.
Your girls like being involved in all the things that happen here. I love the fact
Taking
that you take
advantage
them
of
out
it,
everywhere,
yeah.
man.
Mm-hmm. We have a good time.
I may take my youngest to the three-point slam dunk contest at Hinkle. He might be interested in that. Last time I was in Hinkle, you were there with my oldest son.
Little Fletcher Lawyer action, right?
Yeah, you and Max were there for the last Butler home game.
My nephew, Teddy.
Oh, your nephew. That's right. It was your nephew. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Because he's a little bit older than Max, isn't he?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
He's
So,
9.
Max started to get excited about stuff like that, or he just go wherever Dad wants to go?
Yes, I mean, he did ask the other day, why does Purdue always play? So he definitely is used to watching Purdue on the old television set there. So, yes, he started. Do we have soccer practice tonight? What do you think? You think the fields will be too wet or no?
I think it's getting cold.
Is it?
Yeah. All right. Enjoy what is the day, rain and everything else included there. We'll keep you up to date on all things sports all day long here. Jake at noon. JMV back in the chair today at 3. We'll see you again tomorrow morning bright and early at 7 a.m. Mark, stay out of trouble today, okay?
I'll try.